paperwork behind it. You know what you're getting into. And not only just gummies, they also have so much more over there. I'm not going to tell you, so I want you to check it out for yourself. But I do want to say this, guys. Use my code. If you're going to shop Vance Global, they really, really like it when you use my code RichLux. I want you to get a discount. Don't pay full price. This is it. This is a partnership. I want to save you money, so if you're into edibles, you're into gummies, and all the other stuff that I have going on over there, because I have a lot more, I really do think you're going to like some of the stuff you see over there. So check out their website, use code RichLux, save you some coin at checkout. And I know you're gonna sit there and say, oh, you know, I have gummies from this place and that place. I'm like, okay, try this one. I really do think you're gonna like it a lot. I'm not gonna steer you wrong. And when you try it, don't take the whole gummy, girl. Maybe take a little piece and then kind of like, you know, tread lightly. You know, take a little small piece, give it a while. The last thing you wanna do is take too many, because you'll go for a loop. You know what I'm talking about? Thank you, Vance Global, for sponsoring this. We're gonna be talking about them all month long. It's not the last you heard of Vance Global. All right, guys, so definitely check them out. I'll put the link down below. Use code RichLux, save coin at checkout. Let's get on with this drama. Woo! Girl, yes, ma'am. It is spring has sprung. It is hotter than a hooker in hell in Texas, girl. I'm telling you, honey. Drama with Ethan Klein has heated up. Okay, I want to read this statement on Twitter, and it says this: if you're charging a payroll for fans to be able to live chat on your streams, you better be willing to take the feedback. Productions, these weren't trolls. They were your biggest fans paying money every month to be able to interact with you. And your employee told them to STF you, shut up, basically. And that's true. And the guy, Dan, I believe it's Dan, when he said, oh, shut up, unsubscribe. Honestly, the fact that he's on the show today is I feel he should have been reprimanded. 2 weeks off, no pay.
Absolutely, man. I mean, if you compare it to like a regular job in the regular world, you know, his ass would have been cut off for a few days. Even if the employer didn't want to frame it like he was punishing the employee, what Ethan could have done is been like, listen, things were a little bit heated, you know what I mean? And I'm just going to give you a couple days off, you know, even offer to pay him, you know what I'm saying? Give him a couple days off paid. But frame it like I'm not giving you these days off because, you know, to try to put out the fire, so to speak, or do damage control. Frame it as you're giving him the days off because, you know, you don't want him to have to endure people's shit. You know, you don't want him to have to put up with the additional complaints that are for sure going to continue to come, despite whatever bullshit apology he had put out. You know, so you can frame it in whatever manner you want. You don't have to straight up be like, listen, I'm going to have to give you these days off as a punishment for you running your mouth. You can say whatever you want. I mean, you're the boss. You can frame it however the fuck you want. You don't have to be honest with him. Just spin it in such a way that it's a benefit to Dan. But if it was any other normal job with any other employee-employer relationship, Dan's ass would have been suspended. You know what I mean? But that's not the way it works there because, and it, to me, it's further confirmation that Ethan is 100% not being honest about the apology. He does not feel sorry, and I stand by my opinion that what they said on the live show on Monday is how they feel. Dan feels shut the fuck up. Ethan feels that he did nothing wrong, said nothing wrong, and it's just as a way to put out the fire. Now, the next thing I want to hit on as well, and then I'll let Rich talk some more because he speaks on it, but as part of this apology, Dan swears up and down that, you know, people had commented that Dan was making fun of the caller's lisp, and he did. Okay, he straight up did. And they say, if you felt that way, then you're either dumb or, you know, you're just being disingenuous. Dan, you mocked the caller's voice later on. All right, so you're the one who's being disingenuous. Whether or not you'll admit it, you will never admit it. You'll never admit that you were mocking the caller's voice later on in the podcast. I don't care if it was an hour after the phone call or 2 hours after the phone call. You know you were mocking the caller's voice. You'll never admit it. You'll never be forthright with your intentions because it's disgusting. Like, it's representative of you being a prick. And I don't know what was your problem. If, you've been dealing with some shit, that's fine. I mean, we all go through some shit, and I handle my shit less effectively than most people. But what I will say is, deep down in your heart, in your soul, okay, regardless of whether or not you've admitted it to Ethan or anybody close to you, you were for sure 100% mocking the caller's voice. All right. Like I said, you will never admit it. You will never be a man and own up to the fact that you straight fucked up and you were mocking the effeminate voice of a man who called in because you were having a bad day. So don't try to frame it as if everybody else is being disingenuous when you are straight up lying. You are the disingenuous one. Man, in your own heart of hearts, in your consciousness, that you were mocking that caller's voice. And it's irrelevant. I mean, it's relevant, but it's irrelevant because you'll never own up to it. You'll never be like, hey, yeah, what I said is, because you've already leaned too hard into the bullshit. Now you can't run it back. And again, it's going to be like every other issue. I do agree with the perspective that some people are too sensitive, but in this case, you guys are wrong, 100%. And truthfully, it's bizarre to me because Dan was more wrong than Ethan was. Ethan had a bad take, but Ethan has bad takes often. Dan is usually the one who helps to educate Ethan in some regards, or at least keep shit on the rails. And Dan ended up being the one who crashed the train, so to speak. So, Dan, don't lie, dude. I mean, like, you can throw out and make it look like everyone else who's accusing you of mocking the caller's voice as being the disingenuous ones and, just trying to point the fingers and place blame. But dude, look at me, all right? You'll never admit it, but in your heart of hearts that you were mocking that caller. You know that it was juvenile, that it was wrong and inappropriate, and that it was fucked up on a few different levels, so that's why you won't admit it, because you don't have the balls to admit that at the age that you're at, that you're still being petty, juvenile, childish, and mocking people for silly things like having an effeminate voice. So, again, I know you won't ever admit it, because you're already trying to sell the lie that we're the ones who are being disingenuous. But, dude, come on. You think we're fucking stupid, man? I'm not fucking stupid, all right? I'm not a genius by any regards, but I'm not fucking naive. The reason that I know you were doing that shit is because I used to do that shit. And I used to think it was funny, and I used to think that there wasn't anything wrong with it. So stop, all right? Stop trying to place the blame on everybody else like they're the ones being disingenuous. Again, Rich will reference it as part of his review and his analysis as he goes through this apology, and I will stop it again, and I'm sure go on a rant again, because that's the part of it that pisses me off the most, because I've come to expect it from Ethan, that he says dumb shit. I have not come to expect it from Dan in any capacity. I can't say that I've ever had a situation where I was listening to the podcast or watching it and heard Dan say something and be like, whoa, Dan, you're pushing a little too far. I've never had that. This was the first time. And don't play, dude. You are being disingenuous by saying that that's not what you were doing, that you weren't mocking that person's voice. You absolutely fucking were, dude. You 100% were. And again, like I said, when Rich gets into it, I'll speak on it again, but I just wanted to get that out there because that's the part that finally, even though just out of pure laziness, I hadn't unsubscribed from H3, I when I saw that bullshit section of his apology, of Dan's apology, I immediately paused it, unsubscribed, and came back to doing my thing. So I just wanted to put that out there. Again, I'll speak on it some more.
Tell them to shut up and unsubscribe. To this day, that will never sit right with me, right? And I do want to say this. The apology could have been a lot better. I expected a better apology from it. I really did. Right? It was good, but I thought it could have been a little better. And it's so interesting to see how people spin things. Because there's a part in the, I'm going to roll you the apology. There's a part in it where he's like, what? You know, people are saying that I was making fun of the guy with the list. I didn't say that. And I'm like, girl, yes, you did. The house.
Up. Someone says, I don't know what's up.
So disappointing.
Someone said,
Grow up.
Do you hear that?
I don't know what's
So
up.
disappointing.
Someone said, I don't.
During the show was mocking the caller's lisp. I don't know what the f you're talking about.
See, dude.
That did not happen.
That did not happen.
Up. Someone says, I don't know what's up.
So disappointing.
Someone said, I don't.
And if you're saying that happened, you are either dumb or just being disingenuous.
And this is when I was over it. I was like, nah, man, listen, you're not going to play me as if I'm some fucking moron. All right. And I'm very passive about a lot of things, and I'll let most things just roll off my back because there is too much bad shit going on in the world for me to sweat every little detail. And truthfully, I'm not part of the marginalized community, so I wasn't that concerned about it, even though I was disappointed. Dan, stop it, dude. You're trying to pretend as if everybody in this world is not as intelligent as you are, or is naive, or I don't know what the fuck you're trying to do, man, but stop. You know 100%, like I said, even though you will never admit to it, 100% you were mocking that caller. And to just pass it off as, well, you guys are just being disingenuous and you're either dumb or, you know, come on, man. You know in your heart of hearts that you were making fun of that caller's effeminate voice. And it was shocking that you, in my opinion, I've always been the one who's been able to keep the shit on track. Even when Ethan starts to stray, like I said, I've gotten used to Ethan's bad takes on occasion. But I will not have Dan be the one trying to tell me I'm fucking stupid and saying I'm being disingenuous. And that's what I mean is like, I don't even watch the shit very much anymore. I'm not a mega fan. I damn sure am not going to fucking pay just so I can be a part of their Discord. I don't give a fuck. Like, you guys don't even offer quality content that's exclusive to your members. You just allow them to chat in a private Discord, which when you're live, I think I can just fucking chat in the normal YouTube chat. And, you know, maybe I'm not VIP exclusive, but I don't give a fuck. I'm not paying for the ability to talk in your private Discord. Now, what it used to be is they would record their episodes and then they would make them available to their VIPs or their members a day earlier than the general public. But they only did that for a short bit, if memory serves. So, again, I'm not a mega fan, all right? And truthfully, I just fell off on the content. I didn't think it was that great. I didn't think it was worthwhile, and it definitely isn't as entertaining as what it used to be. Even when Frenemies was on, man, I would watch that shit because it was at least entertaining because Trisha's out of control, and it was hilarious to see the diametric opposition between the two personalities. And it was bizarre because in a certain respect, it made Ethan look like the one who was more progressive and enlightened. I hate the fucking term woke because it's been thrown out there so often that anytime someone says woke, there's just negative subtext there, you know? So I fucking hate that term. I think I'm just going to say inclusive, or, you know what I mean? Progressive, open-minded. Just woke doesn't do it for me. It's been tarnished by the fucking chud Republicans. I just hate it. But it is still a good frame of mind to have. You want to be more inclusive. That's the whole point, right? So when I consider Dan to be the one who is more open-minded about social issues and being more kind and courteous towards marginalized groups, and then he's the one trying to play everybody like they're fucking stupid. I go, no, you're just being disingenuous. Dan, look at me, dude. I'm not fucking stupid, and nobody is that stupid. Now, I'm sure there's plenty of your guys' fans that bought into that bullshit, but you know that you were doing that. You know you were making fun of that man's voice. And the reason that I'm so goddamn sure of it is because I used to do that shit. I used to be part of that group who thought it was hilarious just to make fun of the effeminate voice, and because I thought I was being cool, showing off in front of my friends and mocking these people. Just stop, dude. Stop pretending like you're somehow going to pull the wool over somebody's eyes. And again, I know there's fans that are like, oh yeah, you're right, Dan. Maybe we jumped to conclusions. No, you just had like a quick little seizure where all of a sudden your voice changed to sound as similar as you could make it sound to the caller's voice. Like, that's what pissed me off. That's what put me over the fucking edge, dude. I will never go out there and say that I'm fucking exceptionally smart or intelligent, but I'm not naive. And again, it just rubbed me the wrong way. And instead of being mildly disappointed, I'm fucking over it. You guys are fucking ridiculous, man. And then the entire apology, again, that Rich will talk about some more. Ethan keeps using the term woke and woke and woke, and he sounds like he needs a job at Fox News. I'm not even kidding. Like, I was thinking that whenever I listened to some of this last night, that holy shit, dude, he's using the term woke as often as these motherfuckers on Fox.
Up. Someone says, I don't know what's up.
So disappointing.
Someone said, roll up.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You know what? I'm not gonna get into it, Matt. But we all know which one you prefer.
You guys are so. See, even
do.
AB. Look at AB.
Yeah,
AB
probably do.
knows better.
I heard it. It's like, what do you? And he's like, oh, but that happened before. And like, oh, girl.
I don't give a fuck how much time passed.
No.
Because that's what he says. He ends up being, well, whenever I made that comment, it was like a solid hour past the phone call. I don't give a fuck if it was 3 days later. You know what I mean? Or if Zach just ended up using it as a fucking soundbite, like he pulled it straight from the call. You motherfuckers were mocking that caller, and you continued to do it long after the call had concluded. So you weren't just being a piece of shit in the midst of the call. You continued to perpetuate the stereotype after it ended. That makes it even worse. And I think, truthfully, that's why Dan is leaning so heavily into the lie, is because of how disappointing it is to think that he had used it in such a derogatory manner. I think he was disappointed in himself, and he's in pure damage control mode right now, where he's like, nope, lie, 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 lie. All you got to do is deny, 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 and at some point it'll go away. Man, I would be so impressed if you would just be like, you know, let me be real. I was in a bad mood. You know, you can say whatever you want to try to legitimize why you made that poor choice, but own up to the poor choice and be like, look, it was some petty bullshit. I mocked this man's voice, and I shouldn't have done it. It's petty, juvenile type behavior that I engaged in a lot more when I was younger, and I should know better at this point. But I'm going to continue to try to improve. You know, like, I would have respected that so much more rather than trying to be like, you guys are just dumb and disingenuous if you think I was mocking the caller.
It's so, like I said, Dan, I feel, is probably a nice guy, whatever, but just highly problematic. Get him out of here. Book it to the Batgirl. 2 weeks off. You know, write him up. Why Ethan is keeping him around on that team, I don't understand. Ethan Klein, time and time again, literally last week, 2 weeks ago, whatever, he got canceled the house, lost even more subscribers because of his take on Will Smith. It's like every time he can't get a break to save his life. He's always losing subscribers all the time. And then he says, oh, y'all are just, you know, this podcast is just so controversial. If you can't take it, you need to just unsubscribe. You know, we've talked about hot topics, blah, blah. I get that. But Dan is the issue. Okay, and if you don't let go or reprimand some of these people, they're gonna take you down with them, and I hate to see it. I hate to see it. His employees are gonna drag him down. Dan does not know what it's like to be in Ethan's position. He wishes to sit up there and say, "Shut the f up, unsubscribe." To the imagine if I told you guys. Imagine if somebody called me, right? Imagine somebody called me and they said, "Hi, how are you?" Yes, long time listener, first time caller. Yeah, go ahead. I don't like how you do this. Shut the f up, unsubscribe. It's just so rude. I would never do that. And so why would I let an employee do that? That really upset me. I have their receipts. We're gonna roll you their apology. And honestly, if you want my honest review of like what I really think about this issue, it could have been a lot better. It started off weak. It got strong. It should have ended strong. But they went on and on and on and on, and they could have cut it. They could have nipped it in the bud a long time ago. It was just a mess. But of course, girl, of course. It doesn't matter what I have to say or think about this. You know, I am not the gatekeeper. You guys are. You guys are the one who give these people views, subscribers, and put them in power. So I want to see what you guys have to say in the comments down below. So pop off. Here we go. Roll it.
And I made insensitive remarks and jokes to him. Oh God, my name is trending. I told you it happened. I'll be honest. When I talked to the caller, I don't know why. I just couldn't really understand. But after the episode ended, I talked to some people that I trust their opinion, who have good inputs about this stuff.
I know he's got Tourette's, but that I don't notice it as much when I'm not wearing earbuds, but his nervous tick where he's like constantly beatboxing is just, I'm not trying to be ableist or anything like that, but Jesus Christ, dude, it's so much worse whenever you're wearing earbuds. And here's the thing too that I find kind of disappointing about what he's saying here is it only took after he was able to consult with people he trusted, people whose opinions he really took seriously. He couldn't just listen to the advice of, say, the caller, who is a longtime fan and even still to a certain extent continues to defend Ethan even after being mocked live during the call and then being mocked by Dan later on. And I'm hoping like maybe he called Hassan, and was like, listen, man, like, can you like break this down for me in a way that makes sense? Because Hassan is not a gay man, the same way that I'm not a gay man, but I still am just very livid about the whole approach to how they handled this bullshit, right? And I think Hassan is kind of in the same boat where, again, he's not a gay man, but he can at least be like, look, dude, have you lost your goddamn mind? Like, you just cannot be derogatory towards people of marginalized communities because, again, I know I always use different comparisons, but, sexuality is akin to like people of other races and ethnicities and different religions even. And if somebody were to call in who was, say, black or Hispanic or some shit like that, and the topic of conversation revolved around the treatment of those people as members of that marginalized community, and he just continued to press them on stereotypes revolving around that subset of people, then it would have been blatantly obvious, or at least it should have been to him, why that shit would be inappropriate. But when it comes to homosexuality, to him, he can't get it. I mean, it's just too hard to understand. I don't understand why why you'd be so offended at me presuming that you like to get pounded in the ass, and after you get pounded so hard, you have to wear adult diapers, I know that was like the James Charles joke that he was making earlier in the episode. That's what the title of the episode was akin to. But that's what opened the door for this conversation, was the presumptions that Ethan was making about gay men, bottoms, power bottoms, all the dumb shit that straight white men, or, straight people of all races enjoy making because they think it's fucking funny. And I'm sorry, he just doesn't have the swagger to be Howard Stern. You know what I'm saying? It's like he just doesn't have the charisma, and he can't pull it off. So what he does is he just ends up saying really absurd shit. That is shocking, but it's just shocking. Like, it's not even funny. I mean, and that's just me. This is my opinion. Again, I'm just fucking ranting because I had to get it off my chest. But again, that's what the whole context of the situation was, and the conversation was revolving around his preconceived notions about gay men that are receivers, you know what I mean, and what kind of damage that can do to you, and how you have to wear adult diapers as a result. And it's just, it was dumb. It was dumb. And again, if he had like referenced those type of stereotypes to any other marginalized community, they would have been just as outraged as the gay community is, rightly so. But maybe it would have been easier to get through his fucking skull as to why that's inappropriate. So hopefully he called Hassan. Hopefully Hassan's like, listen, man, Jesus Christ. It's not just the perceptions that you have about gay men and the fact that, top, bottom, however you're classifying them. It's the negative connotations that you're putting behind that perspective, where you say bottoms are submissive and weak and they're effeminate. You know, it was all those negative subtexts that he was inserting along with what he was saying. And then by trying to humiliate that caller in the midst of the call, just further perpetuated the fact that he saw that man as submissive and that he could push it. And I do agree with what he says, that he is asking very bizarre and inappropriate questions to the majority of people who call in. I do agree with that. I don't think he just singled this guy out with the crazy questions. But it's just not the kind of subject matter that you want to be shocking with your questions. You know? Now, if the whole conversation was around tops and bottoms, and he threw it out there, if you are a bottom and you enjoy being submissive, if you enjoy this, you know what I mean? If he framed it in a positive manner and then asked for people to call in, and the entire conversation revolved around that from a positive perspective, it would have been different. But the way that he framed it, and the caller calling in trying to educate him, and instead of trying to be open-minded and listen to the caller, it was just constant interruptions, shocking, stupid statements, and things that really didn't create good vibes. And so now he finds himself in this situation, and once he's lost, 10, 15, 20,000 subscribers overnight, which, just last week or 2 weeks ago, whenever the Will Smith thing happened, I guess he lost a bunch of subscribers as well. Then all of a sudden you get the apology first in text, and then he makes this apology as part of his live stream. And again, it's kind of the cliche statement, everything that somebody says before the word but is meaningless. And this is true in this scenario. He gives this apology, which this tweet apology is weak as fuck. I'm sorry. It's just pathetic. It's the bare minimum. It doesn't really address the issues in an in-depth manner. It's just surface level bullshit, right? So this verbatim looks like somebody like Hassan gives him advice on what kind of apology he needs to throw out there, right? Like he gives him some ideas, saying something about, I don't know, the sexualization of gay men and the grouping of tops and bottoms. Hassan or whoever he trusts was trying to give him some pointers on how to frame the apology. And it looks like he just wrote it word for word, didn't add any additional insight, or, he just literally wrote down what was suggested to him, and he published just that. He didn't add, what's that fucking that one app, twit longer. You know what I mean? Like there's apps, Twitter notes app, where you can make your tweets longer. You know, he needed to do that. If he was going to put out apologies, it's fine to do a written apology like on Twitter. That's fine, but you can't just do that. You have to do that and make it meaningful. Do a video, make it meaningful, and don't use, I'm very sorry, but in my defense, y'all are too fucking sensitive. Well, then you've just invalidated everything you said in your apology, my man. It's just, you can't say, I'm sorry, but are you sorry or are you not? Well, if you do it in this context and you say, I'm sorry, but, then you're not sorry. Like, you still feel 100% convinced that you didn't do anything wrong.
Said was offensive, and or they explained it to me in a way that I understood, and kind of what I said wasn't appropriate and all this. And you know, they explained to me that I should probably apologize, and explained why. And I thought that
Did you hear that? He almost said they recommended
me that I should probably wasn't appropriate and all this. And you know, they explained
they recommended that I apologize. And then he corrects, you know, and says they suggested that I apologize. So he wasn't going to apologize. He straight up had no intentions of apologizing until somebody that he supposedly trusted recommended, you need to apologize. And that should be pretty fucking obvious, my man, that you need to apologize. And again, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself and getting ahead of him, getting ahead of Rich Lux. But then he goes on to say some shit about how, you know, especially after the Will Smith thing, I told myself I wouldn't let my opinions be swayed by those online. Man, that sounds very reactionary. You know, that sounds very Chud-like. That you're not going to... I understand standing your ground. I'm not saying sell out your morals because moral outrage is not a thing. I mean, it is a thing, and it does get excessive. And there are people out there that are too sensitive. I'm not going to argue with that. That is 100% true, and I'm not saying you have to do it all the time, or even like a majority of the time. You should just be able to effectively recognize when it's appropriate and when you are wrong. Now, this case, you were fucking wrong as a straight up gay man. If I happen to be the gay man that called in or a member of that community, I would be so fucking frustrated. Especially if I was, you know, a member, subscriber, longtime fan of Ethan's and had defended him in other online spats and conflicts. I would be so disappointed. Now, I wouldn't even say like mad. I would just feel duped, because essentially what he's saying is that until he consulted with somebody he respected, right? Let's be real. He didn't respect the opinion of the caller that he mocked. He didn't respect the opinion of the people who paid to be in the Discord, the people that were the closest, most loyal fans. He didn't give a fuck about their opinions. And Dan damn sure didn't either, telling him to shut the fuck up and unsubscribe. All right? And it was only once he was able to consult somebody he actually respected, you know. And I would bet that the person or people that he consulted were not gay, lesbian, queer, intersex, you know, trans. I guarantee they were not members of that community. Because I think through my mind about who, if he were going to ask somebody who's a member of that community, who would he ask? And then I'm racking my brain trying to remember people that he's brought on the show. And Trisha doesn't count. She claims to identify as a chicken nugget. So I don't count her, even though she says she's non-binary. I think, or trans. You know, they make the claims that there are people that do it for attention. Trisha does it for attention. I'm not saying that she doesn't actually have identification differences from your normal binary people, but Trisha is a troll, right? So I don't count her. Plus, they're not talking anyway, right? So who has he got? Who's he got in his family? Who does he have that are friends of his that he trusts that would be members of the community? And I'm not saying that LGBTQIA plus because I choke on the letters every time I try to say them, and I think it's disrespectful. So I just say the community. My daughter identifies as part of the community, and I asked her yesterday, I was like, do y'all mind the Rainbow Coalition? And I wasn't being a smart ass. I mean, I know that it can be derogatory in some respects, but can you guys come up with some sort of abbreviation or some sort of name that groups you guys together that I don't choke on? Because I'm being 100% honest, I feel disrespectful when I can't spit out the letters and nail it. So, and I want to be respectful. So, if you guys could just conduct some online poll or, you know, figure something out, because I don't want to say Rainbow Coalition, you know, but because I feel like that's something you would hear on Fox News. And again, I apologize. I'm still ignorant. I'm trying to unlearn some of that bad shit. But my point still stands. Who the fuck's he gonna ask? Who the fuck is he gonna ask? I'm trying to think back. People he's brought on the show. People that he identifies as a friend of. That is a member of the LGBTQIA plus. See what I'm saying? I can't even fucking get it right. I just need to practice. That would probably be respectful, right? If I just fucking practice it over and over, you know, because if you honestly have respect for something, you'll put in the work. And so don't worry about making it easier for me. To show that I am respectful, I will get it right. I will practice, even if it's in my off time, and I'll fucking nail it. I promise. But I can't remember anybody that he's ever brought on the show or that he's ever spoken of as a friend that I would consider to be like a trusted friend of his or somebody that he's close with that is part of the community. So in my opinion, he may have asked Hassan. He probably asked Hassan because Hassan is more progressive than Ethan is, and is more socially aware than Ethan is. But Hassan is a straight man, a straight white dude. I mean, you know what I mean. He's white passing. So that's who you trust, man. That's your respected member. That's your respected reference. Is somebody who's not a member of the community. I mean, for real, I'd love to know who he asked. And if they are a member of the community, I will formally apologize to absolutely nobody that watches me, you know? But I will still straight up apologize. But I don't think he's got somebody close enough to him that is a member of the community that he values their opinion that much. So I'm thinking probably Hassan or some other straight individual. He asked their opinion. Somebody with more progressive ideals than him. And again, Hassan is the one that I think of because they've done the show together. They would consider each other friends for sure. And Hassan is more progressive and inclusive. And I would imagine that's probably who he spoke to. And Hassan's opinions are extremely valid, but he is not a member of the community. And it's insane to think that he didn't listen to any members of the community. You know, his longtime fans who were paying money to be a part of the community and be a part of the Discord and call in and watch the show 3 times a week. Nah, fuck them. I don't care if they are a part of the community and pay money and are the biggest fans out of anybody else. I don't respect their opinion. So let me ask a straight man who I consider my friend, who is more progressive, and we'll see what he says. And then this straight man that is your friend tells you, recommends you should apologize. And only then did you put together this pathetic excuse of an apology, my guy. Like, I'm sorry. Just as a Twitter apology, this is pathetic. This is not even like a solid attempt. And that's what he's not sorry. I mean, I hate to agree with Keemstar, but Keemstar had put out a tweet where he's like, to all my, fans that are members of the community, he's not sorry. He's sorry he got caught. That is correct. That is 100% correct. He is not sorry. Do I think he's homophobic? I don't know. I can't really make that distinction because, again, I'm not a member of the community. And I haven't paid enough attention in my interactions with possibly homophobic people to determine what differentiates the two. I am inclined to say yes, because he's so committed to dying on this hill. And even though this is an apology and he says words, like I said, it's followed up by but, and then he goes on to defend his actions, to defend Dan's actions. And even though he says, let's see, blah, blah, blah is a stereotype that I will be trying to unlearn. Okay. So it's something that is ingrained in his brain. He didn't even say that I will no longer think of, that I will no longer consider valid, that I apologize for ever considering as a valid stereotype. And then he says, I will be trying to unlearn. Nah, dude, just say it's unlearned. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to spend a lot of time staying committed to this. Now, I get the whole pretense that you can't just snap your fingers and this negative programming that you've had in your brain for years will be gone. Trust me, I'm number one example of that. I'm still saying dumb shit even to this day. That is a part of the community I was brought up in, the values I was raised with, good and bad. I mean, there are some bad ones for sure. And I'm still trying to unlearn them. However, I would never say that I would be trying to unlearn. I will be unlearning it, okay? Now, if I slip up every now and again if I am convinced that I am committed to improving my thought processes, I will notice immediately when I'm saying something that falls into that category of dumb, unacceptable mindsets, right? So, like, if he ever strays into categorizing or stereotyping homosexual men or women or anybody from the community, and the conversation strays that way, and he's about to say some ignorant shit, even if it slips out, if he's committed to improving his mindset and his frame of thought around the community, he should be able to immediately recognize that what just slipped out of his mouth was stupid and ignorant, and he should immediately retract it and apologize. So none of this I will be trying to unlearn. If you're committed to it, if it's something you really believe in and that's valuable to you, and it's got to honestly be something that you care about. You can't just do this PR tweet where you say, oh, well, I'm going to be trying to unlearn it. No, man. If you honestly believe that you're trying to educate yourself and evolve as a human being, there's no trying. There is, you will unlearn the shit. And you will, anytime it slips out, you will apologize immediately. Or you should. And if you don't, then you've never had any intention of changing. So,
Explained to me that I should probably apologize and explained why, and I thought that, I understood. So, this is my heartfelt apology, which I'll read to you now.
Yep. What is it? 2, 4?
After consulting with people
Not
like
even 6 full lines.
who I value their judgment.
Heartfelt.
To my LGBTQ plus fans, I am very sorry for comments on today's show. The sexualization of gay men and grouping of tops and bottoms is a stereotype that I'll be trying to unlearn. And apologies to the caller too, who I shouldn't have pressed inappropriately. I hope you guys know I always mean well. So that's my apology. Some people accept it, some people don't. That's fine.
It's embarrassing.
Keemstar, of course, has my number. Keemstar, a great ally to the LGBTQ+.
Absolutely.
You know, this man is always been on the right side of things. So Keemstar is addressing his one LGBTQ fan. He says, to my LGBTQ plus fans, he's not sorry, just sorry he got caught. Bro, I'm on a live show. What do you mean I got caught?
Gotcha.
Got caught?
Gotcha.
I'm on my own
Got
live
caught slipping.
show.
Gotcha.
It wasn't like a hot mic moment. I'm here.
No, and that's the thing that's bad, man. It wasn't a hot mic moment. I mean, the mic was hot. But you knew it was hot. That's what makes it worse, dude. You weren't just Trump in a fucking tour bus talking about grabbing her by the pussy. You were like live on the show saying the dumb shit. It's worse.
In 4K.
Keemstar, who... Oh, is this a new one? I haven't seen this. But I haven't
Wait,
said...
I didn't see that.
Keemstar, who... Oh,
Like with a thread? What is this? Ethan Klein has lost his mind. Have you guys seen his comments on gay sex? I just watched this T channel for the clips. I, Keemstar, you know, the bad guy, would never say any of this horrible shit. This horrible shit. I legitimately was offended, and I'm not even gay. For everybody asking for the clips, I don't even know if I should tweet it. It's bad. He was just like questioning this guy if he was a top or a bottom. It wasn't just that,
new
dude.
one? I haven't seen
He
this.
went in real heavy.
Having said all that, you guys, and what I'm about to say now,
Here it comes, baby.
having said all that, which I genuinely feel, and
You do
especially,
not.
you know,
You do not, dude.
being sensitive to the caller, the whole pushing, the comment specifically where I was like, I could tell what you are based on your voice, whatever. Very, very gross and bad. Okay, like I totally acknowledge that. And the whole bottom diaper thing. Okay, I understand now. Like what I said was offensive, but there are certain things I just gotta be real about. I gotta speak my mind on. Because as you guys know, the minute I stop speaking my mind and being genuine is when the show fucking dies. Okay?
It's already dying.
Now, I've been forceful. I've been emphatic that, like, you know, 2 weeks ago, I got semi-canceled for the Will Smith thing. I was emphatic that no matter what, I'm going to always speak my mind. I'm going to be true to myself. And I'm not going to let anybody or anyone kind of change course for what I think is right. And so,
What do you mean? Okay, I understand, like, he's probably referencing primarily the Will Smith thing right now, which is somewhat different. But what does he mean by how does it apply to this most recent scenario? What you think is right? What in that conversation did you think you were right about, or that was appropriate, or should have even been worth dying on? You know what I'm saying? Like, dying on this hill is not worth the clout that you're gonna lose, the subs you're gonna lose. Like, what in that conversation from Monday did you feel that your frame of mind couldn't be altered from? Like, what were you stating as part of that stream that you refuse to alter your position on? Is it that effeminate men are always the ones who are the bottom? Like, what was it that you were committed to preserving the integrity of in your mind? Like, what argument were you making that you're willing to go to bat for? The Will Smith thing, again, is different. Maybe that's what he's talking about. maybe he's not referencing Monday's interaction as being, as him putting forth some sort of perspective that he's willing to die for. Maybe he's just purely talking about Will Smith and that whole scenario.
Things
I hope so.
that really rub me the wrong way. Let's start off, first of all, with what Dan said. Dan told everyone to fuck off and unsubscribe. I understand that made some of you
I
guys
did.
angry,
I mean,
but I have to defend. First of all, a lot of people have been calling Dan a horrible homophobe, and that's just fucked. That's just outrageous. Anyone who watched the show knows that Dan's a good man, and I'm not going to stand by and let people malign Dan like that. That's just insane.
oh, you're so brave.
I got to stand up for my boy here. So much so that poor Dan just made a Twitter.
Poor Dan.
Was it
Poor Dan.
weeks ago?
2 weeks ago.
You
Yeah.
deleted Twitter, right?
I'm out.
You logged in today.
I mean, I was.
And listen to the reason why he finally gave up on Twitter. Like when he ultimately deleted his account, see what the straw that broke the camel's back was.
Harangued into making one anyways.
But you were enjoying it. You were tweeting.
I was enjoying it, but yeah, the thing is that I get very argumentative with people, and and I do want to say I appreciate you saying that, Ethan. I do think that I did not articulate my thoughts very well the other day, and I apologize to everybody that I think a lot of people that I was not referring to thought I was referring to them.
Here's what I want to say, Dan, before you get too deep into that apology.
Okay, sure.
I do want to give you the chance to speak, but I just want to be fair to Dan, because I'm going to say things that I don't think he'll say for himself. Every week, we get fucking...
listen, hold on.
For himself. Every
I don't know if Dan's response there was all right, or if it was no. Please don't say shit for me that I won't say for myself, because you're going to end up saying it wrong, right? Because that's mainly what Dan's position is. He didn't articulate what he wanted to say very well. And don't pass it off to Ethan to be the clarifier, okay? Ethan doesn't know clarity. If somebody sprayed him in the face with Windex, he wouldn't know how the fuck to handle it. He's almost as bad as I am about trying to word good. I don't word good.
week, we get fucking canceled and called out for something that we're not good enough for.
It should be indicative of some sort of improvement that needs to take place, okay? If you're getting called out every week for some sort of bad take, maybe you should work on your takes, man. Like, again, and I fully agree with the perspective that some people are too fucking sensitive. I like making jokes. I think it's okay to be edgy with your jokes. But there's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it. And if every week you're triggering a large percentage of people that go out of their way to comment, then you're probably saying some wrong shit consistently. Like, let me put it this way, okay? I'm lazy, right? And so in most cases, even when something is said, like on a video or on a tweet, even if it's annoying and wrong and juxtaposed to my position, I'm going to tell you 95% of the time, I won't even go through the trouble of replying. Mainly because, A, I don't have any clout, okay? So I can't drum up a large audience to buck back at the position that I disagree with. And most of the time, whoever I'm bucking back at isn't going to see what I have to say anyway, you know. And even if I see a large percentage of people are sharing the same opinion as I have, I won't go through the trouble of, you know what I mean, and typing my reply. It's just not worth it to me. I got better shit to do. And to me, that might include just sitting on my ass, right? That to me is more enticing than going at a fucking and taking the time to reply to somebody's shitty take. It's just not effective to me. I know that some people thrive on that. And some people are like, man, I'm always going to put my opinion out there. And I respect that. Just me at the age I'm at, with the mindset I have, it's just not worth it to me. So 9 times out of 10, I'm not going to take the effort or the time to reply to somebody's shitty take that I disagree with. However, I can't say that for everybody, but I can say that probably for a similar percentage of people out there, you know, same thing. They might reply, but maybe most times they're like, it's not worth it, you know? I disagree with this person's take or this person's position, but how many people actually go through the trouble and take the time to write shit out? Maybe if I had more downtime, like in terms of, you know, I'm waiting at the doctor's office or something and I'm trying to kill time, maybe I would reply to more shit. I just don't have time like that. But I presume to think that most people, unless they're really, really agitated about somebody's position, they won't go through that trouble. Could be wrong. So if you are seeing a huge influx of people who disagree with you, it's an indicator, dude. It kind of says that you might be on the wrong side of this argument. Usually, if you have a bad take, or just a small percentage of people claim that you had a bad take, you're not going to see enough comments that are going to make a difference, right? The vast majority of your fans will come to your aid and defend you and tell those people shut the fuck up, and it'll be such an insignificant quantity of people that are being contrary to your position that it's irrelevant, right? So if it's such a huge influx of people that it is a noticeable quantity and it is making a difference, then that is an indicator that you might be wrong, okay? If there are more people that are being louder that hold the position that you are incorrect, then you might be incorrect. It's worth examining. And truthfully, it's only those scenarios like this, and apparently the Will Smith thing. I didn't do much analysis about his take on Will Smith, but these are the only times that he makes an apology, is when there's a substantial quantity of people who are echoing the same sentiment that he was wrong. Then he'll make a video. Then he'll tweet out an apology. You know, he'll throw some sort of I'm sorry out there to try to, you know, dampen the flames a little bit. Now, to go through the effort of apologizing and then to backtrack and then be like, I am sorry, but y'all are still fucking wrong. What good is that going to do, man? You've just completely negated your apology by throwing your own defense in there. All right. So again, it just ends up being wasted time, wasted effort. Your apology is invalid. Nobody cares, right? Nobody even cares about the I'm sorry portion of it. They only care about what followed the but. So you're being counterproductive by doing it in this fashion.
We're not woke enough. Be better. It's always be better, do better. I feel like an abused fucking...
See, he's the victim, guys. That's what you don't understand. Ethan's the victim. How dare you all mistreat this man? You guys are always beating up on him, telling him he's not woke enough. He's the victim, okay? Not the marginalized communities that he mocks. How dare you? You guys are fucked up.
Stepson sometimes, you know, trying to navigate this space. It's like, every week, be better. You got to do better. You got to be better. I'm doing my best here, guys. Like, y'all can't... I'm getting, like, woke whiplash. And it's
See
like...
what I mean? Woke this, woke that.
With the Will Smith thing, there was people like, well, sometimes the people take it too far, but this time it's right. This time it's serious. Or last time is fucking serious. And it's like, you guys got to fucking, like, understand how intense it feels on this side when every week people are turning something we said into evidence that we are intolerant pieces of shit, you know? Or it's always like, oh, the veil is down. I always knew they were racist, homophobes. Oh, we can't pretend now to be woke and all this shit. And Dan is fucking sick of that shit.
Dan is sick of it, guys. Listen. Listen. Dan is over your guys' bullshit, and Dan thinks you guys should just fuck right off and jump off a bridge.
All are. So his snap judgment is like, fuck you guys, just shut up. And, people are calling me homophobic. Dan knows I'm not homophobic. Okay.
Yeah, Dan knows, guys. Okay. Dan knows. As a member of the straight white man community, Dan knows whether or not he's homophobic.
For me, which he's being a good friend and a good a supporter. So, so I totally understand Dan's reaction to say, just shut the fuck up and unsubscribe, which, obviously he was heated at the moment.
But you agree with.
Understand, okay, too heated, okay. But understandably, it's not, sometimes it just
It's
doesn't
not
feel
fair.
reasonable.
What you guys are so mean to me.
We get. And I understand, because, I'm sorry, but me and Dan both know we're not homophobic, okay? And I just refused that title. I do, outright, for both of us. It's just not the case.
Well, you heard it here, folks. They claim that neither of them are homophobic. So it's settled. Not only are they not homophobic, but you have to accept their apology. Right? Sorry, there's no other way around it. You guys are fucked.
Oh, I mean, yeah, it again, I think that a lot of, so there's two main things that people were really mad at me for. One was what you're talking about, which, again, I think I overreacted. I don't know. It was just a mood thing. And like you said, it really wasn't even about that particular thing. But, I mean, anybody that frequents our subreddit or goes into the comment section of YouTube knows what you're talking about. And it gets exhausting to just feel like you're...
To not say dumb shit, yeah.
Saying,
It is exhausting, dude.
Be better.
Yeah, and so...
Be better.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm trying.
Yeah, and I was trying to stand up for you a little bit. I am glad that you acknowledge, though, that, especially the thing with the collar and pushing him when he had established a boundary, I didn't like that happened either. And I'm glad that you see
that's what I mean, is typically Dan is the one who knows where the line is, and he knows not to cross it. Because if for nothing else, it minimizes the amount of bullshit that they have to deal with, right? Whenever Dan stops it from straying too far into the territory of potentially offensive rhetoric, Dan will stop it. And he always has in the past. And I get it. Everybody has a bad day. Trust me. I have them a lot. But this second part, come on, buddy. Come on, buddy. We're not fucking stupid.
You accept that. The other criticism that I have been getting, which is really the reason that I was like, you know what, this whole Twitter thing, is that I, at one point during the show, was mocking the caller's lisp.
Correct.
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah, you do.
That did not happen.
That did not happen.
Oh my god, dude.
Saying that happened, you are either dumb or just being disingenuous. I don't know what you're talking about. There was a moment.
People said you were...
That's why you deleted Twitter, man, because you knew you'd done something indefensible, and the only thing you can do is just straight up lie about it. Be like, that didn't happen. Yeah, it did. And you know it didn't. That's the thing. You know it fucking did. You 100% know that you mocked that caller's voice. And I think you're just ashamed of yourself that you slipped up and started pulling out the juvenile, childish bullshit that we used to do in high school, man. So, I mean, like I said, I'll do it too. I still say dumb shit, but I don't have anywhere near the number of subscribers you guys do. And I'm not the one who's supposed to keep shit on the rails. I am not the producer of Ethan's shows. All right, so I still have room to work with. You do not. And I'm not saying that that you're not entitled to a certain level of understanding that when you fuck up, people should give you the benefit of the doubt and not burn you at the stake for it. They shouldn't. They absolutely shouldn't. But in order to get that benefit of the doubt, and that sort of wiggle room, you have to apologize and own up to what you did. You know that you were mocking that caller. You fucking know that you were mocking that caller's voice. I don't care if it happened an hour later after the call was over. I don't care if it happened 2 days later on the next podcast. You 100% were mocking that man's voice. So stop. Stop saying we're the ones being disingenuous or that we're fucking stupid. You know that you were mocking that man. So I don't care what you say, dude. That's what broke it for me. And again, I'm not a paying member. I'm one of those that in response will shut the fuck up and I will unsubscribe. All right? And I hope a lot of other people out there do the same. Because this is it. This is it, man. I was willing to still stay like subscribed and maybe not watch you as frequently as I used to, and might occasionally just let your guys' shit play as part of autoplay in the background when I'm cleaning the house or something. Not anymore, dude. I don't want to fucking hear your voice.
You were mocking.
Yeah, there was a moment late in the show when we were talking about somebody had left I believe it was after somebody left a super chat telling us that we suck or whatever. And I think I did.
And you
a
mimicked
voice
the
that was
caller's
more
voice,
sort of
yeah.
like a
Right.
annoying whiner voice.
Yeah, annoying whiner, yeah.
Voice that was more so just like a annoying whiner.
See, dude, it's not even like a good line of bullshit that you're slinging there. I was trying to do a voice that was like an annoying whiner. Yeah, man. Because that's what annoying whiners sound like. He was doing his best impersonation of the caller. Straight up, dude. Straight up. I'm sorry. And again, I've said this a million times. There are these super fans that have already forgiven them for this, right? And that's fine. That's fine. And there are people who believe this line of bullshit. Don't do that. Especially if you're a member of the community. Don't believe this bullshit. I'm not saying, that you can't be a fan, you can't continue to support him and give him your money. That's fine. I cannot tell you what to do with your money. But don't believe this. I promise you. He thinks that he's smarter than you. He thinks that all he has to do is keep denying this, and everybody will forget about it. And they will. I will too. I will absolutely forget about it. But I'm not a member of the community. And so it doesn't affect me and will not affect me. But you can't let him forget this shit. And I'm not saying continuously remind him, because that's not productive. But it needs to be added to the bank of memories so that in the future, when he slips up like this again, you can hold him accountable and use it as evidence, right, of past behaviors. Now, of course, people improve. So 10 years from now, it's no longer valid for you to, guys, pull up this commentary and use it as evidence, unless he continues year after year after year after year to exhibit the same type of behavior and mindset. But I'm not fucking stupid, man, and I will not let you try to bullshit me into believing that you were doing an annoying whiner's voice. You were not. You were mocking the caller. And again, if I remember the community, man, I'd be way more heated, and I'm already fucking heated.
Her voice, was sort of like I was mocking.
Up. Someone says, I don't know what's up.
So disappointing.
Yeah, an annoying whiner.
How people connected that to me mocking the caller's lisp, which the caller happened like 2 hours prior to that.
Oh, yeah, so it's
really
not valid.
to think that I was referencing that. Again, that does not feel like people are being genuine. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
And
We're the ones being disingenuous. See, that's what I mean, dude. Is don't you fucking try to spin it around as if we're the ones who are being disingenuous. Jesus Christ, dude. When you're outright fucking lying. Outright lying. Thinking, well, that's okay. I have a higher than average IQ. Or, he believes he does. So he can say whatever he wants, and the people who are the biggest supporters are going to believe it for sure. Even members of the community. Like I said, people love doing this where they're wrong, they can't admit it, or they refuse to admit it, so they just put it back on you. Well, you're being disingenuous because you don't believe my bullshit. No, man, you're being like the literal definition of disingenuous because you're outright lying, because it's so horrible that you can't admit it publicly, that you were doing that you were mocking the caller. Again, if you would just man up and be like, it slipped out, I was having a really shitty night, and I'm sorry. Even say something like, I know that a lot of people won't forgive me, and I get that. But I did want to be up front and let you guys know that I can no longer pretend that I am the one who's being honest, and that you guys are the ones being disingenuous. You really need to re-examine the hills that you choose to die on. For fuck's sakes, dude, it is not worth it. Like, you gain so much if you just apologize. You gain the knowledge that going forward, you're going to be a lot more cognizant of what you say. And you're not going to just react and let things kind of flow out when you're having a bad day. Maybe you'll take an extra second to think about it, You'll get the praise and the support of not only your most loyal fans, but even me, man. Like, I'm just one chud that doesn't give you any money, but I unsubscribed solely because of that. Not even the fact that Ethan's apology is bullshit. Not even the fact that, I don't buy into any of it. That one specific angle that Dan's trying to spin is the one reason that I went through the trouble of unsubscribing. Is because don't play me, dude. Don't play me. Don't play everybody else out there like we're fucking stupid. You are being disingenuous. You are lying. You are trying to make it seem like you did not mock the caller's voice 2 hours after the call had ended. Because for some reason you were still just so frustrated that people think that you're being inappropriate. It is frustrating, right? Especially when you think so highly of yourself. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to go on and on, but this just really fucking burnt my cakes, dude. I swear to God.
Someone said,
Grow up. Jesus.
And then he says, grow
I
up.
don't know what's up with Ethan today, but something's off. Bad vibes this episode.
Shut the fuck up. Unsubscribe.
And make
Okay.
that conclusion. If it came across that way to people and you genuinely thought that's what I was doing, I apologize. That
There
was
you go.
not my intent by any means.
That was your intent. It was your intent. It was your intent at the time. It's not your intent now because you realize it's fucking disgusting. And as a woke individual, you should know better than to even stray into that realm of mockery. But you didn't. You fucked up. That's fine. Trust me, I do it daily, multiple times a day. Say dumb shit, do dumb shit. Just admit it, dude. There's so much to be gained by admitting you're wrong. I can't stress that enough. There's so many lessons that can be learned from apologizing, and you diffuse the situation. You probably keep that 10,000 subscribers, or at least 5,000 of them. You know what I mean? Just man up, dude. I'm sorry. I'm not like a hyper masculine type dude, but the expression man up to me isn't a masculine thing. I say it to my daughter. Man up, dude. Just meaning like prove that you have the integrity, the strength, the fortitude to do what's right. Even when there's certain parts of you saying, no, I don't want to do this. Man up, man. Like for real. Man up. Inside, your consciousness is screaming, this is going to be rough. People are going to be coming for me, once I admit to this. But truthfully, I think that the number of people coming for you would have been substantially reduced if you had admitted it. Now you can't. because you're just fucking so committed to trying to prove to people that they're the dumb ones and you're so much smarter. But even still, if you run back, he apologized. If you genuinely thought that's what I was trying to do, I apologize. Because you know that's what you were trying to do. And genuinely, I know that's what you were doing. And I'm never the type of person to say anything with certainty unless I'm certain about it. Even if there's some, like 2% of me that feels that I might not be correct about this take, I will preface my statement by saying I'm not entirely sure, but this is one of the rare statements where I can say he for sure meant it to be mocking towards the caller. And now he can't admit that.
And is that people are making a lot of bad faith arguments.
Yeah, we're bad faith, dude.
Right. Yeah.
See,
So that
I love these fucking these trigger statements too, right? These trigger words, or these debate bro phrases. Bad faith, disingenuous, straw man. You know what I mean? Like, people love throwing out these debate bro phrases because they know that once you're accused of it, you will go back and re-examine your position far more intently than just a normal conversation. Or utilizing bad faith arguments, it does a lot to diffuse that person's position. Because immediately once you're accused of that, you become hyper-focused on it, being introspective about your position and thinking, am I being disingenuous? Is what I'm saying a bad faith argument? No, none of that's true. But they know throwing out these terms will make them seem... I don't know if they feel like it makes them seem more intelligent because they can throw out these jargon type phrases that are used in the online community, the leftist community. But it doesn't. It just, like I said, being so certain that they're full of shit right now, just know that they're the ones being disingenuous. You know, it's not even that back and forth, he said, she said type stuff, where I'm like, no, you're being disingenuous. No, factually, you guys are the ones being disingenuous. With this entire frame, the way that you're framing your position is completely false. And it's manipulative. You guys are trying to paint everyone else as the bad guy, to take the spotlight off of you and throw it back onto them. And, you know, by saying it on the stream, that those hyper fans, super fans of yours, will go to bat for you. I mean, it's the same way he utilized his fans for, like, the Ryan Kavanaugh, Harvey Weinstein website and the search engine optimization stuff he did on Google by encouraging his fans to search over and over whether Ryan Kavanaugh looks like Harvey Weinstein. You know, he mobilizes his fans to protect him and defend him by using these type of issues and these type of manipulative techniques and phrases like bad faith and disingenuous, because then his hyper fans will go and echo those same exact words and arguments to anybody who disagrees with him.
That has the overreacting and telling people to fuck off. You know, I accept that was over the line. The other stuff, I don't even know.
One thing that I didn't appreciate that a lot of people were saying about me is like, the only reason you felt comfortable asking him if he's a top or bottom is because he's gay. That's bullshit. I ask everybody uncomfortable questions,
and that was
always.
I do agree with that.
I articulated very poorly, I admit, but that this is what you get with Ethan, man. Like, he pushes boundaries and he pushes buttons, and it's not targeted.
Man.
Yeah, that was one of the top comments on that video too. Ethan is indiscriminate in who he pushes.
Oh, okay, that's good.
And you can
I agree with that.
But don't think that it was targeted.
You think that, like, oh, well, I'm just targeting this man because he's gay. That's fucking bullshit. Okay? Anyone who watched this show as that comment well stated, it says that I'm indiscriminate with my inappropriate questions.
Yes.
That's how I can talk to people on this show. I
Yeah.
find it interesting to make people squirm a little bit or make uncomfortable or ask the questions that you shouldn't, right? In real life, I'm not like that. But on the show, when I'm trying to fucking entertain
Okay,
you...
I wanted to point this out too because when I heard him say this last night, I chuckled to myself because I seem to recall whenever Frenemies was still kind of going on that they all took a trip to Disney World. Disney World? Can't remember. I think that's the one. No, wait, it's Disneyland that's in California, isn't it? You know what I mean. They took a trip, and this trip included Trisha, right? And Trisha's sister, and Trisha's mom. And Ethan and his family went. I can't remember if the entire crew was there. I'm not sure. Anyway, they filmed some of it, but then it became a big controversy, and they were arguing back and forth about who paid, blah, 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 blah. But the part of it that I took away from it was they shared this story on Frenemies where Ethan brought up in front of Trisha's mother and Trisha's sister the story of where Trisha let a man shove a candlestick up her ass, or back when she used to be an escort, a client shoved a candlestick in her. Okay. So, Ethan thinks it's appropriate to bring this up in front of Trisha's family. Seemingly from the context of the way that Trisha explained it, it was seemingly out of nowhere. Like, maybe they were talking about something remotely similar in nature, but Ethan brought it up to her mother and sister. Almost like a, how do you feel about the fact that Trisha did this? So when he says, I'm not like that in real life, yeah, you are, my man. Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. Maybe it's just, you do the show and it's part of your gimmick and it kind of bleeds over into real life. That might be what's happening, and that's fine. Like, shit happens. But don't claim that you don't ever engage in that kind of shit off camera, because they didn't film that part. Or if they did, I don't remember. Maybe they did film it and didn't show it. Maybe they filmed it and did show it. I don't know. But it was part of the more normal day-to-day life where they're all going as a collective group to Disney, and he brings up this whole candlestick story to her mom and sister, which is entirely inappropriate, man. It's like, I just don't understand why you would do that unless you're trying to get that same level of like shock out of them that you would try to get out of a guest on a show. I don't understand it.
This is an entertainment show, by the way. I like to create these situations. I think they're interesting.
And oftentimes people love you for it.
Oh, really?
You're not perfect.
But there's people that aren't familiar with me or the show, and they see that, and then they make this whole grand thesis about how I'm only comfortable doing that because he's gay. And that I'm sorry, but I reject. I have to. I'm not going to just sit there and let people say that shit with uncontested.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry to do this, but this was the, colossal bad take of colossal bad takes, in my opinion.
Oh my god, so bored. Get me out of here, girl. Let me know what you think about that. Did you see, watching it, and I hate that I'm this person. I am so gullible and easily manipulated. I know that. That's why I protect my space and I protect my peace and I set boundaries, at least I try to. In the beginning, I was so frustrated and angry, right, when it first happened. Then you see them tap dance their way out of it, and you're like, okay, I get it. I see their perspective. I can resonate with that. And then you're like, well, no, that doesn't make sense to me there. And then at the end of it, I'm just kind of left with, I really don't know. If you guys want my honest, true, 100% opinion, I'm still processing the whole entire thing. I need time to do that. And it's why and hopefully you guys are much better than I am and can leave a comment so I can get comments save my life in this video, but I really want to know what you guys think about that. I really do. Very interesting. It's very interesting to watch. even from like a parasocial standpoint, a psychological standpoint, a janitorial standpoint, PR standpoint, you know what I'm saying? Just to watch it and see how these people interact. I think Dan, I stand by what I say. Dan should be recommended, or how do you say that word?
Reprimanded.
I don't know. 2 weeks off, no pay. The house. Give him a write up. Literally, because you're not gonna about to tell my subscribers shut the F up, unsubscribe, and then I lose 10,000 subscribers because of what you said?
Up. Someone says, I don't know what's up.
So disappointing.
Someone said, I
Grow
don't-
up. Jesus.
Grow up.
Dan.
I,
Unsubscribe. Go away. Grow up. Jesus. Christ.
Dan.
I, what's up?
So disappointing.
Someone said, I
Grow
don't-
up.
I-
Jesus. Christ.
Dan.
Is AB say damn Dan?
I don't know what's up.
So disappointing.
Someone said, I
Grow
don't-
up.
I-
Jesus. Christ.
Dan.
I,
Unsubscribe. Go away.
Damn Dan?
Shut the fuck up. Shut up.
The callers are really the victims here.
And then Ethan Klein is just like, okay with that? That doesn't make any sense to me. I would not be okay if I lost 10,000 subscribers. And no. Girl, I can't even get a subscriber to save my life. Much less a like or a comment or a share. And then to lose 10,000 subscribers, just be okay with it? No, Dan needs to be 2 weeks off, no pay. Borderline fired in the house. No, I just don't get it. I love Ethan, peace and love. The apology started off very weak. It got very strong, and I was like, yes, yes, yes. And then they went overboard, literally off the rails. And then Dan over here spinning some lie about how I didn't say that. I didn't say that's not what I meant. I'm like, girl, shut up. Yes, you did. I heard it.
Up.
someone says, I don't know what's up.
So disappointing.
Someone said, I don't
Grow up.
I didn't say that's not what I meant. I'm like,
The other criticism that I have been getting, which is really the reason that I was like, you know what, this whole Twitter thing, is that I, at one point during the show, was mocking the caller's lisp. I don't know what the f you're talking about.
Yeah, you do.
That did not happen.
Yeah,
that
you
did
do.
not happen.
Up.
Someone says, I don't know what's up.
So disappointing.
Someone said, I
Grow
don't,
up.
And if you're saying that happened, you are either dumb or just being disingenuous.
Anybody actually? Hold up. I'm gonna do this.
fired in the house. Off. They went over.
I have been getting, which is during the show, was mocking the caller's lisp. I don't know what the f you're talking about.
That did not happen.
That did not happen.
Up.
someone,
All right. Hold up. I want to do a thing. I'm trying to reduce the amount of vape that I use during the stream, so I'm chewing gum. I apologize. Okay. I want to go to the actual podcast, right? Where the guy calls in. And I want you to listen to the man's voice.
3, 2.
Who's the caller?
Hello.
Oh my God, that sounds horrible. Dude.
Get it back on with the apology, bro. You would not.
It's like or prejudice
Said enough.
against people from other countries. Oh my God.
I don't think that what you said was that.
Yeah.
Well, he said they're Chinese, so it's a
Caller.
little of that.
Violated medical doll. What?
Yeah, and that's great. People that receive.
But
it's
you
better-
understand.
it's
But
more-
as long as you understand where I'm coming from on this,
To be honest, I don't.
I'm moving on from James Charles. I'm sorry. I don't
Okay.
Okay, you heard that. That's the caller's voice, right?
someone says, I don't know what's up.
So disappointing.
Someone said, I,
Did you hear that?
Grow up.
And if you're saying
Up.
someone says, I don't know.
care about.
Diapers. It's just a theory.
Oh no, I'm moving on from James Charles. I'm sorry.
What's up.
So disappointing.
Someone said, I
Grow
don't,
up.
and if you're saying that happened, you are either dumb or just being disingenuous. I
Up.
someone says, I don't know what's up.
So disappointing.
So disingenuous of us guys
don't
to think he was mocking the
No.
caller.
what you're talking about.
Up. Someone says, I don't know what's up.
So disappointing.
Someone said, I
Grow
don't
up.
Girl, shut up. Yes, you did. I heard it.
Thank
I'm gonna
you.
fight back for you, girl. Are you serious? And then you're gonna turn around and be like, but if that's just how you feel, I just want, girl. I can't deal right now. I can't deal.
There you go, Rich.
Let me tell you what.
I mean, for real, it's completely understandable to be this pissed.
Put that guy on like 2
Especially as a member of the community, dude. If I were, I would be fucking irate.
And I get that the show is controversial, it's edgy, it's fire, it's hot topics. I get it. I live for it. I love it.
Doesn't have to be, man. I always enjoy the show so much more when Ethan and the crew are not being dicks. Like when they're watching funny clips, compilation videos. Like I remember laughing super hard at, for whatever reason, Ethan. I mean, the video itself was pretty funny. It was like somebody at a Sonic drive-through where they roll around on roller skates and bring you the food. And like the server was carrying a tray full of slushies and absolutely ate shit coming off the curb. It was fucking hilarious, right? So the clip itself is funny. But what made it even funnier is they were watching it, right, as part of the show, and Ethan was losing his shit laughing so hard. Like, that was an incredible episode. And it wasn't anything fancy. It wasn't anything, like, edgy. It was just wholesome, right? Laughing at somebody's pain, I know it can be a little bit fucked up. But by the same token, it was just so cool that he didn't have to be a cock to anybody. You know, he was just laughing at something that was already objectively funny. And he like couldn't breathe because he was laughing so hard. Like, go back to that.
You sit there and just be like, shut the F up, unsubscribe if you don't like this. Girl, and every time Ethan Klein takes a caller, there's some drama. Oh my God,
That's
you
true.
don't get it. The caller
Stop taking callers.
responded in the comments and said, I think I have the receipt right here. The caller chimed in, literally, and here's what the caller had to say. The caller said...
See, this is what I mean. I'm seriously the caller, and I've spent the afternoon defending Dan on Twitter. He's a good man. And I do believe that. I do think Dan's a good dude. I mean, this is the first time from my memory that I can ever say Dan was on the wrong side of the argument. But it was really profound, and that's what is really upsetting, man. It's like, Jesus, dude, like, you are normally the guy. You're normally the guy. Dan, you are a good man, and normally you're the guy that's like, let's get this shit back on track. Let's not stray into the realm of offensive. Let's just do our best to not go there. And this was absolutely bizarre to see him lean so heavily into the shut the fuck up and the denial. You were mocking him. Stop pretending like nobody knows that you know what I mean? It's like, Jesus, dude.
I'm seriously the caller, and I've spent the afternoon defending Dan on Twitter. He's a good man. Well, I'm glad you see it that way. I am glad you see it that way. But I don't. And we can agree to disagree. Dan, it's not okay for you to tell people, shut the F up, unsubscribe. It's not even your channel.
Horrific stereotype about gay men, I think, is like that they're P words or groomers, like shit you hear from real people right now today.
Hold up.
It's not even your channel.
Horrific stereotype about gay men, I think, is like that they're P words or groomers, like.
Am I naive? But I've never heard that as being a stereotype of gay men. That they're pedophiles or groomers. I've heard that about James Charles. Because he is a pedophile and a groomer. And openly admits to liking people who are under legal adult age. I've heard that about James. Because there's evidence supporting that narrative. I have never heard the assumption that because a man is gay, that they're a pedophile and or a groomer. I've just never heard that. Did he just self-report? Did he just fucking self-report? Because I feel like that was borderline self-report, if not outright self-report. Again, I have never heard the stereotype that gay men are pedos and or groomers. I have heard that about James Charles, because he is. I mean, openly admitted to it. There's evidence supporting it. It's not just a stereotype with James Charles. But I've never heard it as a blanket statement for all gay men. And I feel like he just said the quiet assumptions of his own mind out loud. He just self-reported. And yes, that is a horrific stereotype. If you feel that way, then yes, you're homophobic. Again, it's fine to feel that way about James Charles, because he is. But if you've ever considered that to be true of all gay men, you're in the wrong, and you need to really shift your way of thinking. I didn't hear this part yesterday.
Like shit you hear from real people right now today in Florida saying like, they're saying, oh, you can't talk about gay people in school because they're grooming your children.
That's not what they said. That's not even what the Chuds are saying, is it? I don't think that they're... Maybe they are. I mean, I've heard a lot of insane shit from that side of the aisle over the last 2 years, but I've never heard that being part of their position of the Don't Say Gay bill. I mean, it very well could be. I'm sure that somebody out there has echoed that sentiment, but I just haven't heard that be the crux of their position when it comes to trying to validate the Don't Say Gay bill. Is that, well, we have to prevent this conversation from occurring in the classroom because they're grooming your children. I don't even remember it being hyper-focused on the sexuality of the teacher, per se. I just thought it was more like a general disagreement to the idea of discussing sexuality at such a young age, regardless of the sexual preference of the teacher. Is there really, is this a thing? Is this a thing where they're like, or is he just making fucking stupid assumptions? Because I think he's making stupid assumptions. And in the same breath, outing himself as being misguided or misinformed. Holy shit, I didn't even see this stuff.
Our tone a little bit. Did I really perpetuate a horrific stereotype? I don't know. Like, if what I did was horrific, then what is it they're doing? Like, can we have some levels here?
Right.
What? Ethan, what the fuck are you talking about, my man? A, you're being held to a higher standard because you consider yourself a lefty. You're self-described lefty. So, the same way that we are supposed to hold, say, police to a higher standard and assume that they are less likely to commit crimes than criminals, right? You, as a self-described lefty, are held to a higher standard because you spout these beliefs that align with leftist views, so you're held to a standard that lefties would be held to, especially when you have such a big community, right? And we're getting to that point where we're transitioning from one generation of leadership to the next. With your following and your online presence and your values that you say that you hold, you probably are going to become a representative of that. I mean, if you assume the reins, you know what I mean? If you just still pretend to be a comedian, then it's different. But you're held to a higher standard because of what you have stated your political viewpoints are, or which side you lean towards. So you're held to that standard of progressive ideals. We don't expect you to speak and behave as if you're a chud. We expect it of the chuds. It's shocking. Okay, so even if there is evidence and news reports and shit like that that reflect what Ethan just said, where, you know, the Don't Say Gay bill revolves around this idea that, you know, homosexual people are grooming your children, or that they're pedophiles, or whatever the fuck that he just made up. We expect it of those idiots. Because they're idiots. And they have completely opposite values. And they hate marginalized groups of all shapes and kinds and forms. Transsexuals, you know, like, they hate it. But we've come to understand that that's their position and they're hopeless, so we give up. If you claim to hold leftist ideals and you have a large community, you are held to a higher standard. So yeah, we can have levels, dude, but you're not going to like those levels. The levels are, we understand that the chuds are going to be chuds. Chuds be chudding. Okay, we get that, and it's unacceptable. However, there's not a whole lot that we can do about it. I mean, we don't live in those states, and we can't necessarily vote them out of office. Okay, so we just kind of have to take it on the chin there. From you, we don't have to. And then you get the kind of response that you're getting now, where people are very disappointed in you because you claim to be a lefty. And this is, whoa, dude, you scared the shit out of me. This is not lefty behavior. So, I think if there are more clearly defined levels, you're going to hate it even more. But I think this is it. You're seeing these clearly defined levels and you don't like it. You're held to a different standard. So you can either embrace it and work with it and work to be a better example of what we need to have as part of our leadership going forward. Whether or not you want it, you've got it. Okay. You can embrace it and make it a part of who you are and try to lead everybody that's part of your community in the right direction, or you can buck back at it and continue to be an asshole. Either way, if you don't embrace it, you're probably going to lose a lot of subscribers, dude. Now, if you keep your format the same and then just claim to be a chud from now on, you'll probably be fine. You'll probably grow your audience, matter of fact. But don't pretend like you're super surprised that you're being held at a very high standard. Especially when you launched the show with Hassan. It was like the foremost authority on lefty politics right now. On the online sphere. Which, let's face it, going forward, it's going to be the only sphere that matters. You know, legacy media has kind of fallen by the wayside, and truthfully, any presentation of legacy media that will continue to exist in the future will occur online. It's the only way I see CNN and stuff like that is through clips on YouTube. I don't watch regular TV, so. But don't act surprised, dude. Don't act like, oh my God, it's just so unreal that I'm being held to account for my stupid ass positions, all the while these chuds down there are passing laws that are completely inappropriate. Yeah, we expect it of chuds, dude. Surprise, surprise. What do you want me to do about it? But you, as a content creator, as a leftist, online, you can be held to account for your bullshit, and that's what's occurring. So don't act shocked. It's not a position of argument to hold either. Like, I'm sorry. Like, why be mad at me when, you know, isn't that like whataboutism? Or whatever. You know, I was talking about that fucking debate bro jargon. Isn't this whataboutism? Well, you guys get mad at me for holding this position, but what about the Don't Say Gay bill? What about it, dude? It doesn't excuse your fucking behavior. And it, again, is just an attempt to deflect away from the errors that you've made. Stop it. We expect better of you.
We need some levels.
Yeah.
Am I you know, let's say, okay, what I did was horrific. Top, bottom stuff, whatever. A joke in Portuguese.
I wouldn't say horrific. If there are people who are saying horrific, it's a little hyperbolic. It is highly offensive. And maybe if I were part of the community, maybe I would classify it as horrific, but I think of horrific as like genocide that's occurring in Ukraine. That's horrific. A joke in poor taste is still bad, but I wouldn't quite say horrific.
Genuinely, I would like to hear what Kat describes as like every mainstream conservative describing gay people as groomers.
I've never heard
What is
that. I really haven't.
We need some levels here. But okay, that's not even the problem. She says, perpetuate horrific stereotypes.
Oh, Kat made comments about it. To purposefully and knowingly recruit a queer and gay fan base just to shit all over them and perpetuate horrific stereotypes about gay men is a choice. Ow. And Kat has kind of been, well, an ally to them since didn't she break the David Dobrik story and the Dirty Dom last summer or the summer before? I can't remember, but I feel like she was she's the one that wrote that article that really was like groundbreaking about David and the alleged rape. So now Adam McIntyre, which he's another hero of mine. The newest H3 podcast has so many yeah, I remember when he said this a couple days ago. And this was Kat's response. And I wouldn't say, okay, in his defense, I wouldn't say that they've purposefully cultivated queer and gay fan base. I wouldn't say that. They've targeted those people specifically. Now, if she means that they have cultivated a leftist community, and traditionally speaking, leftists or people of the community end up being leftists because, for the most part, lefties are a little bit more inclusive, understanding, and progressive, right? So I think just by default, people that are part of the community end up being Democrats or lefties. Maybe that's what she's saying, is that they've cultivated a community around leftist ideals, which would include queer and gay people. Maybe that's what she means. And maybe she's referring to it even more so about like Leftovers. How they launched this show that's political, it's leftist ideals, and that, of course, even as collateral product, if you want to call it, is cultivating community of marginalized people. So when you make a show that is politically motivated with leftist ideals, people who are worried about politics on the left side of the aisle are going to flock to you. Maybe that's what she means. I don't know. But I wouldn't say that Ethan specifically or the H3 podcast has targeted queer and gay fans. I wouldn't say that. Not to my knowledge.
Tips about gay men is a choice. So she's saying, I've gone out into the world. I have recruited queer and gay fan base. And then I put them in a room. And now I'm going, you're fucking the worst. So I'm taking them and I'm beating them up. How can you watch the show if you think that about me? And this is what I'm saying. Some people, I think, are too sensitive to watch this show. So I'm trying my best. I'm always trying my best. And I hope you guys know that I always mean while I'm trying my best. But if you think that I'm this horrible, this is the worst shit. If this is who you think I am, you watching this show. To purposefully and knowingly recruit a queer and gay fan base just to shit all over them and perpetuate horrific stereotypes about gay men is a choice. So there you have it. I am choosing to... I'm sorry, but this is an insane thing to say. I'm sorry, but no. I just completely refute it. Without reservation. Just 100%. And I'm sorry, Kat, to put you on blast. But you know what? I saw this echoed. I read the comments, and I personally just found it a horrific accusation. And it's gross. It's just gross. And I don't even know what it means. I'm still baffled by what she means by purposefully and knowingly recruit a queer and gay fan base. What the fuck are you? What does that mean? What have I done to recruit gay fans?
I don't know.
How do you even do that?
I don't know what that means, genuinely, either.
How?
I mean, we do have a significant fan base, but I don't. We didn't go out of our way to recruit them.
I agree.
Yeah, we're very happy they're here, and
That you
I'm glad
didn't
that
go
they
out of your way. I agree with that for sure.
I'm so.
But I think, again, it's more centered on the idea that you promote leftist values. And marginalized peoples, typically, if they're well informed, flock to more progressive sides of the aisle. Just in my opinion, you know, I know there's still just an insane amount of people that are members of these marginalized communities that still sit on the Republican side, but for the most part, come on, baby. I don't know why. There we go. But no, you haven't gone out of your way, and that's fine. Like, you don't have to. But again, if it's just a side effect of what you've promoted your ideals to be, then, you know, you embrace it. And truthfully, it's like, don't. That's not the main crux of her criticism, right? Isn't that you've gone out of your way to cultivate this community, and that's why it's so upsetting. I don't think that's what she's trying to say. I mean, you're hyper-focusing on that part of the statement, and that shouldn't be what's focused on.
So happy. Listen, I don't want anyone to stop watching the show, okay? And just make that very clear. And if people who were offended, who were able to continue watching,
especially not 10,000 of you in one night,
and that, you know, we're doing our best here, and we mean well, that's fucking awesome. I love you guys. But I don't know. I found this take to be just a little bit vile, to be honest. I don't know. But
I'd watch my descriptors, dude.
I don't know why she's...
Watch your adjectives,
gotta take it, like, gotta go nuclear with it. But there you go. I mean, she's been on the show, you know, friend of the show.
I didn't think that take was nuclear. At all. If you want a nuclear take, I'd be happy to provide you with one. I've been giving a few throughout the duration of my rant here. I'm looking at their Social Blade. Is H3H3 Productions different than the podcast channel? H3 Podcast. Let me check. Probably not. But I'm just curious about subscribers. Oh, it is different. What is today? The 14th? Yeah. Can I pull this up? I'd love to look at this closer. Hold up. Alright. Today is the 14th. I think they did this shit on the 11th, right? Isn't that when Monday was? The 11th? Jesus Christ. Can I see my fucking calendar, please? Thanks. Yep. So for the week of April 7th to April 13th. So up until yesterday, they've lost 10,000 subscribers. And they lost 10,000 the week before as well. And I think that was during the Will Smith thing.
Apparently, or
He's so shocked.
No,
I mean,
Just
she's a
really
critic
shocked.
of this space, and that's what she specializes in. She writes on it, and certainly she's welcome to have her opinion and voice it. But
yeah, of course, but
yeah, I mean, in this case, I don't know. It just seemed like you said.
Well, it's like
didn't need to go nuke that hard with it. Seems a little.
Was it that hard?
He said she's a critic. This is her specialty, and so I feel the need to respond.
Oh, please do.
Such a strong accusation that had some steam to it. You know, I'm sorry, but Kat, I don't know what to say.
Nice response.
Painful.
Yeah, it's painful.
So there's that. You know, I have some notes here. There's just a lot of stuff I want to talk about.
I keep forgetting this is Rich's thing. Like for a second, I thought I was watching the actual apology. This is still Rich's video.
And a little, and you know, I don't want to. Part of me from this like woke whiplash, I do feel like there's a little bit of like the left eating themselves. Because if Kat
That's
really,
what we're best at.
Yeah, I mean the left really eats itself.
That's a long running.
And it's actually really painful to me because if Kat thinks I'm that big of an enemy, we can never be allied. Can never be on the same team as her. And just going through this,
see, that's your perspective though, and maybe it's her perspective as well. And I agree. That is the biggest problem with the left right now, is that we cannot agree long enough to get anything meaningful accomplished. That is for sure an issue, and will probably continue to be an issue for a long time, because we don't have, or let's put it this way, even though let's try to sum it up. The right, it's isms, right? That's what unifies them. It's marginalization, prejudice, stereotypes, you know, that unites them all, regardless of whether or not they admit it. We know that on the left side. We know that this is what identifies them for sure. So what identifies us? Isn't it supposed to be progress? Now, I understand there are different perspectives as what progress entails, and I think that's the problem. I think it is progress that unites us all, but we all have different definitions of what that means. And that's where the infighting comes in. I do believe that in instances where one member of the party is wrong with a large following, it's not best to nail them to the cross, okay? It's not to necessarily demonize them for any reason. You have to hold them accountable for that belief, right? Now, if you try to do that in a polite and respectful way, or, you know, communicate with them one-on-one or whatever forum you deem necessary, there, of course, are appropriate and inappropriate forums to have this discussion. Twitter, I don't think, is necessarily one of them, unless you're doing, like, DMs. So, I don't think demonizing a member of the party is effective, because then you get this. You get the infighting, and he feels a certain way that's contrary to how she feels, and because his perceived attack, the fact that he feels that she's attacking him, now he feels he's got to defend himself, right? And that's what he's doing. And it's not beneficial to the party as a whole. And this is what causes this infighting. And it's not fruitful to any of us. And so, yes, constant infighting. But by the same token, members of both subgroups within the party need to be open to learning and educating themselves. And you can't be so hard-headed that you refuse to even listen to the other side. And that's kind of the problem, is I think from the moment all this started, Ethan's been absolutely refusing to even hear the other side's argument because he just disagrees that fervently with the other side's perspective, with the community's perspective, that he's being offensive. He doesn't see it that way. He doesn't agree with it. And truthfully, he's not going to change his mind on that. And that's what causes the friction, is because one side is trying to educate him. Yeah, maybe they're being overbearing. I'm not sure. I haven't looked at like the collective mounting evidence, but if he's going through the trouble of apologizing like he is here and putting it on the show, then it's been a pretty substantial quantity of people telling him he's on the wrong side of this argument. But he's digging his heels in. And then he's gonna buck back at Cat, which he did, and it just perpetuates the argument. And it just, again, is not being fruitful.
These past couple months of like every week something happening, it's like, it really makes me understand how people like Tim Pool and Steven Crowder and Dave Rubin and all these fucking goons on the right that are just vile freaks that, you know, I despise on many levels.
And you agree with them.
I understand how they exist and why so many people watch them. It's because they get tired of being called racist and homophobic.
Well, there's a job for you, Fox News, my man.
They, you know, screw this. I'm going to go hang out with these fucking guys.
That are goons.
It does radicalize them because once you roll in that crew, it's hard to get out, right? It's hard to get out.
I think that those people were always spineless, and that's, you know.
But the audience, there is like a certain thing. Like, it'd be so easy for me now to be like, go on Tim Pool or whatever, because they always invite me on now whenever this shit happens. But like Ben Shapiro used to always try to get me to come on a show every time I got canceled and then talk about how woke culture is the fucking, you know, ruining society. I never did. I always said, fuck you.
Why?
Weasel.
Ethan, why are you the one who's always having this trouble, man? Why are you the one that's always being identified and invited on by the Ben Shapiros and the Tim Pools and the Dave Rubins and the Steven Crowders? I think that's indicative of something too. Right?
Because he's a piece of shit, and I'm never gonna go that route, right?
Yeah, and no.
But it'd be so easy to go there and be like, you know what, blah blah blah, woke culture, this and that, and then you get new fans. You get a lot of new fans, and then all of a sudden, you know, you got to start catering to them, and you get sucked in. And once you go against them, because they're just as bad as like the ultra woke. They have the dogma that you don't fucking cross too.
Well, you're right, and then you wind up like Dave Rubin, where
exactly
Ben Shapiro is telling you to your face that he thinks you're evil for being a gay man, and that he would never come to your wedding. And
exactly, you end up like Dave Rubin.
And you nod along and be like, okay, well, I accept that.
I understand. You end up Dave Rubin, totally. And there was a path that could have taken me down to Tim Pool, Dave Rubin.
Still is, man.
I chose not to, and I never will, because I know in my heart that those guys are fucking reactionary.
What was that? Oh, did his phone swap to the side?
I know in my heart that those guys are fucking reactionary pieces of shit, and I hate everything they stand for. It's against everything I believe in.
Mm-hmm.
But I get it, right? Because y'all, when you constantly calling people gay or homophobic and racist and shit, who mean well, maybe they're ignorant, maybe they're not like ultra woke, but they mean well, and they're definitely on your team. Like, let's be honest.
Okay, there you go. That's the first true thing that you've said. And you should have led with that, and you should have stuck with that. And you should be speaking in like the first person. Don't be relating it to as if it's somebody else. Just say, I'm on your team, and I do mean well, and I'm ignorant. Don't say woke like that, you fucking chud. and maybe I'm not as well informed on a lot of the issues, but I'd like to be, and I'm sorry, I never really meant to hurt anybody or any group. And I'm still learning. That would have been brilliant. Just admit to it, man. Because you are wrong. It doesn't do you any good to stand your ground on this issue.
Like me and Dan, we're on your fucking team. If you don't think me and Dan are on your team, you have no allies. You have there's nobody left to fight for you.
That's wrong. That's not true at all.
Me and Dan are actively again, there's like, okay, I understand I can hold some like homophobic
right. So and no, you're not actively trying to sabotage the progress of these marginalized communities. I don't believe that, but you're passively doing that. And that's the problem. That's the problem. Is you're not working to undermine any progress consciously, but it's the ideologies that you hold that are ingrained, right, in your brain, that you've learned either directly or indirectly through your upbringing and society as a whole, right, that are still programmed, and you perpetuate them by even mentioning them, even for comedic value. You know, like it's not stand-up comedy, dude. You're not doing a routine. It like you're doing a show, and when you're inviting people to call in, it's not an opportunity for you to just fucking pick on people and be an ass. It's just not right, man. So just don't sit there and pretend like you're the victim and that you're the one who's being mistreated. Like, this is the choice you made when you decided to get into content creation, and now your format is bland. And when you sit there and you just stick a mic in front of yourself and you talk about problematic issues with inappropriate positions on those problematic issues, you're liable to say a lot of dumb shit. And then you have to spend the next podcast apologizing.
Like to say, oh, you think it's okay to make that joke? It's like, I get it. I won't do that again. I understand that it was offensive. But you this label of homophobic and racist, if you think me and Dan are not on your team, then there's nobody on your team. There really isn't.
That's not true. They're much more effective allies than these motherfuckers. Let me be completely clear with that. There are a lot more people out there that are active supporters and active allies, not just well, I won't speak negatively towards you, so by that logic, I'm an ally. Well, and you don't even qualify as that because you speak negatively towards them and about them, so you're not an ally, whether it be active or passive. You're actually vilifying them with these sorts of comments. So you're not being helpful, you're being detrimental. So to say that, if we're not allies, then you guys don't have allies, that's not even close to being true or correct. I do agree and believe that you're on the team. I do believe that you are or could be a supporter. I think that you don't have any real hatred in your heart towards marginalized groups like this. But don't pretend like you're the epitome of what it means to be an ally. You're not even close, dude. You don't spend any time talking about positive change that could be occurring, and you're not donating to causes that promote this type of equality. Like, there are many better examples of active allies out there than you. So if you don't think that we're allies there, then you don't have any allies. That's not true, man. Stop pretending.
Two very progressive dudes, very social conscious dudes. Dan more than me, who's been called a homophobe probably more time in his life than ever before. Is that right, Dan?
Probably the first time.
Yeah, first time.
Yeah. Well, don't say stupid shit. I mean, again, I could go on and go back through that same argument that I made earlier. Dude, you were mocking that man, and stop pretending that you weren't. You really should stop. And I don't think you're homophobic, but I do think that your comment was homophobic. And the mockery of that man's voice was homophobic. And so, yeah, I mean, it makes sense that for the first time in your life you're being called homophobic because you said some homophobic shit.
It's one thing to criticize
Poor
someone.
you.
It's another thing to like outcast them, to fucking exile them.
Are you serious? What community have you been removed from as a result of this? Like, what were you cast out from? Twitter? Cancel culture. Woke culture. It's so caustic. Oh my god. Dude, you can get a job at OAN if you want. If you can't handle it, get off of the internet. Or stop saying dumb shit. Like, it's pretty easy. Especially when, as of late, you've been more into the political scene. And you've been claiming to hold these leftist ideals. Well, great, because there are people who need your leadership. You know, there are people out there that are part of your community that came to you when you were just claiming to be a comedian, but then when you leaned heavier into the political scene, people started to rally behind you even more because they thought you could be a positive representative. So I'm not saying that you can't be a comedian, but your comedy is in poor taste and it doesn't do anything to solidify your followers' trust in your leadership from a political perspective. You're just reactionary. You know what I mean? Like, the ideals that you're holding are the reminiscent of the good old days, and that's reactionary. Like, stop. Like, again, the reason I'm so adamant that Dan was being homophobic with his statements, although I don't feel he is a homophobic person, the mockery was homophobic because I used to do that shit. So I know what it sounds like. And like I said, I played the clip of the caller's voice and the mocking voice that Dan used. And he was doing his best impersonation of that person. I don't care what he tries to spin it as. He's lying. He straight up was mocking that caller.
Which is what it feels like sometimes. I mean, we had people returning their Teddy Fresh because of the show. It's their choice. We give them a refund. I totally get it. But it's like, you don't want to be associated with me anymore? I'm that fucking nuclear to you? Okay.
I mean, it's their choice, but...
Jeez, you guys are such victims, man.
And I say, you know...
They return their Teddy Fresh? Aw.
You know, take your money back, and we do a full refund. We don't sit, we just are very polite and understanding. It's totally fine. I understand. I'm just saying that
you're invalidating everything, dude.
Some of y'all think you're doing a good thing, genuinely, but I actually think that a lot of what's going on is
I could actively switch sides just out of spite, you know, proving that the ideals that I held were never true ideals. They were just, I was holding them because it was getting me subscribers and followers. I mean, in a heartbeat, I could switch sides. We know, man. We know you could. We know that you're already pretty much there. Pretty much there. I mean, especially when you're saying that you can kind of understand how the Dave Rubins and the Tim Pools cultivate an audience, and you can understand why they would, you know, hold those ideals and get fed up on the woke culture. You know, you poor thing, man. You've been so victimized. Jeez, I would be upset. Gosh. I bet you lie awake at night in your several $1,000,000 mansion just thinking how victimized you are. Fucking God, he's such an idiot, dude. Ah, Christ. I just can't. Did anybody call him out on this? On this kind of stuff? On this whole spinning the narrative to make him the victim? Because that's what he's doing. It's woe is me. You are so abused and picked on, my guy.
Worse. Not all of you, because I understand. That's why I apologize, right? Like, there's a genuine space for an apology and understanding and learning. Some people take it way too fucking far, and it makes it way, way worse. That's why I showed Kat's tweet. I think she's making things worse with takes like that. Like, I'm just sorry. I'm not.
She's making things worse for you. Like, what do you mean making things worse? She's making things worse for you because you had a poor perspective on the matter, and she, just like everybody else, has their right, unless you're Donald Trump, has their right to voice their opinion on Twitter. And so by her voicing her opinion and it being counter to what your opinion is, it's making things harder on you, which, again, you poor thing. How do you even get up in the morning? My goodness. And what do you mean making things worse? You mean the division on the left? Dude, it can't get any worse. It can't. It really can't. I don't even have a suggestion on how to band-aid that shit. I was super doomer yesterday about the political situation in this country, and I think I'm going to continue that narrative for a while until I'm proven otherwise. This is it can't get any worse. And yeah, she's making things worse on you because it perpetuates further. It perpetuates the idea that you were wrong and you still hold this belief, and she's holding an opinion that's counter to yours, and she has every right to do that.
To recruit gay people for the specific purpose of offending them with horrific.
All right, now that's bad faith.
Stereotypes.
Because that's not at all what she did.
It's a strong word, don't you think? Just saying.
It's a little hyperbolic.
Just saying.
It is very hyperbolic.
A little hyperbolic.
I mean, you gotta save words like horrific for shit that's horrific. You really do. You know what I mean?
Again, that's subjective though, right? I mean, even though I do agree that the terminology of horrific in this instance wasn't quite appropriate, I think it is hyperbolic. It is based on somebody's personal perspective. There might be a lot of people, gay men and members of the community out there that felt like the shit was horrific because it's their personal experience and their personal perspective. And I don't have any right to tell them that they're wrong. And the same way with him. He doesn't have any right to tell Kat that it's not horrific. In his mind, it's not horrific. But again, it's subjective.
A offensive joke is not horrific. I'm sorry.
Not to you.
I've seen way worse. I've seen way worse.
You've said way worse.
Okay? Just being real. Just saying.
It's enough. You're so funny.
Know.
Yeah, I'm glad you said though that you know, the Tim Pool, the reactionary, oh, I got canceled, so fuck all these people.
Yeah, you completely relate to them, huh?
Because I think it's important to state that and let people know.
To state that you understand it.
Same way, no amount.
So you can't, let's be careful, okay? If you guys continue to call people out on their poor takes, then you're going to push them towards the right, okay? So you might want to back off on holding people accountable, especially when they have several million followers, okay? So just keep that in mind. Okay, we can completely understand Tim Pool. All right, because believe it or not, because of this whole situation, I deleted my Twitter, okay, because people were holding me accountable for my shitty take, and I could just very easily, quickly switch over to the other side, all right, if you guys make me upset, and I could invalidate all the values that I have claimed to hold up until this point, proving that they're actually meaningless, and I just state these things, because if you honestly believe these things, if you hold these values, then it's not going to be some petty bullshit that makes you switch sides. Like cancel culture. It's not a fucking real thing, dude. Grow the fuck up. Okay? It is not a real thing. It's not real. It's not real. It only becomes real when you validate it by saying it's real. People give you feedback. Because social media is constructed in a way that when you put out any piece of media statement onto the internet, people have the right to respond to that. So you've set up a community that is allowed to respond to your guys' media. whether it be a podcast or a tweet or whatever it is that you put out there. It's on the internet. You know that it's out there for people to respond to. And heaven forbid you do something or post something that a large percentage of people find offensive or disagree with. That now that you've cultivated such a huge following, your fans are going to potentially disagree with you, which is what's occurring. And those that hate you and don't follow you on a regular basis are also going to catch wind of this because you have a huge following, and they're also going to come and shit on you too. And yes, they might unsubscribe. They might stop buying your shit. They might do all these things. But when you go online, you say it's cancel culture, all you're doing is overgeneralizing, and you're saying that your bad position in this one moment has led to very substantial negative consequences that you're feeling very intense about. And that's fine. Like, you have the right to feel intense, about what's happening to you. It is shitty. However, you're validating. All you're doing is generalizing. It's not cancel culture. It's you doing something or saying something incorrect, and you're being held accountable. If you want to classify it as you're being canceled, I mean, sure. I mean, it's the reverse and the undoing of what you've cultivated. You've created this huge community online with followers. When you do things that people like in the beginning, they subscribe to you, right? And you build this community. When you do things that people don't like, they unsubscribe to you. And then you start whining about how it's unfair and you're being canceled. Well, let's face it. You were very privileged to have been able to create such a large following in the first place. And when you call it cancel culture, all you're doing is forgetting that fact, that you were fortunate in the first place to have ever been held on a pedestal and valued for your opinion or your content, whatever it is that you're doing to entertain people. So you've created this entire career and this online persona and clout and consistent income by a total blessing, and because you had entertaining, positive, fruitful, meaningful content that people found valuable. And so they pay you for that, either through monetary shit or following, subscribing, all the different ways. And then whenever you do something wrong and people start to detract and move away from you and say, okay, I'm unsubscribing, I do not approve of this conduct, then you whine about cancel culture. And again, it's an overgeneralization of you losing what you've been blessed with. And you have to really be introspective and be like, look, I did something wrong. Like, if you want to stop the bleeding, don't say shut the fuck up and unsubscribe, because people will shut the fuck up and they will unsubscribe. Well, let's put it this way. They'll unsubscribe, but they won't shut the fuck up. So, cancel culture is not a real thing. It's just you're being punished for your bad shit, and you're overgeneralizing it by saying it's cancel culture. And by doing that, you're taking away any of the meaning of the people who are detracting from what you've said or what you've done. What you're doing is you're taking any valid criticisms that they may have brought forth to you by what you said or did, and you're saying, no, it's invalid. It's just cancel culture. I didn't do anything wrong. You're just reiterating over and over that you feel like you didn't do anything wrong by saying it's cancel culture. Well, you shouldn't have. I mean, you've come to rely on this community that you've built. And if you're being canceled, it's probably for good reason too. It's not just everybody jumping on the bandwagon. Because you do have diehard fans, man, that will 100% support you regardless. So, and you're really, when you're talking about cancel culture and you're acting as if you're the victim, you're taking away from those people who still stand behind you. There's still a very substantial quantity of people who will defend you till the end, regardless of what you say. And I love people claiming cancel culture. Like, and I can totally see Tim Pool's perspective. Cool. Well, you both wear beanies a lot. Why don't you go join him?
Of people accusing me of being a homophobe will prevent me from advocating for their equality. You
Me
know what I
neither.
mean? Like,
But some
it
people.
sucks. It sucks to hear.
Yeah, it's painful.
It's painful to hear, but I will fight just as hard for you as I did on Sunday as I will today. You know?
Of course. Of course. Me too. But I
could see the doubt in his face.
Like, there's this group of people with open arms, like, one of us.
Right.
You're one of us.
Again, it's because, yeah, I mean,
White grievance, baby. Come get it.
I don't think they ever felt as strongly as they may have once claimed to, or whatever. Yeah, you know, like Tim Pool claimed, like,
They just-
I was a liberal for years, but
Dave Rubin.
They've driven Dave Rubin too. Yeah, both of them.
I used to be a liberal, and then people called me racist, and now I hate myself for being gay.
Right.
It's very, very similar to the complaints that they're making right now. And like I said, I know that's why they're talking about it. But, you know, the Dave Rubin thing where he's like, I used to be a liberal until people called me racist. Dude, you can be liberal and racist. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, same way these guys can be liberal and homophobic. And just by making the comparison or shining light on Tim Pool and Dave Rubin, what you're doing is you're essentially saying that you agree with the fact that they switch sides, or that they hold this perspective that 99% of their values are leftist, but because of this one thing that happened to them, now they're on the opposite side because of cancel culture, right? Or because, cancel culture, I guess, in Dave Rubin's case, even, you know, if people called him racist, I don't follow him, or I have no idea what happened to him. I don't follow his career, any of that shit. But truthfully, it's like this. If he ended up switching to the other side because people called him racist, then, okay, and you got canceled. And, well, that value, that one attribute that you hold, right, essentially groups you in with the other side, because that's the one thing that we don't tolerate is oppression or reactionary mentalities or holding on to ideals that should be long gone. Marginalization, stereotyping, prejudice, like those type of things. That's old shit, dude. And like I said, I think that in terms of the left, progress is what we all want to move towards. While we all hold different definitions, the right is going to say we enjoy being racist, homophobic, transphobic, and treating all these people with shit, or with shitty ideals, then the opposite of that is we're going to be inclusive. And we're going to allow everybody to feel as though they're welcome. And we're not going to hold hatred towards these people based on their sexuality or their ethnicity or their race or their religion. You know, we're trying to be the opposite of that. So if you're like, I'm a liberal, but I hate the gays, well, then you're not a liberal. See your ass to the other side. Or I'm a liberal, but I'm racist. See your ass to the other side. Because you'll never be part of this group. Because I think that, I mean, in my opinion, I agree with so many policies on the left. And there are some things I disagree with, I guess, or don't fully understand the entire crux of the argument. But one thing I can 100% for sure agree with is I hold no hatred or ill will towards anybody because of their status as an individual. You know, whether it be race or ethnicity or religion or sexual preference. None of that shit. And it is abhorrent to hold those beliefs towards somebody, especially with regards to things that they can't choose, right? You can hate me for being fat. I don't mind. I made a choice to be fat in some regards. But I'm not going to sit here and say that I've tried everything to lose weight. I haven't. I just enjoy eating a lot. You can hate me for that. It's a choice. If I wanted it bad enough, I could lose the weight. But you can't hate me because I'm white, because I didn't have a choice. Now, if I was white and racist, you can hate me for being white because I'm a white racist, you know. So that's different. But it's more so revolving around the idea that I'm racist rather than that I'm white. But what I'm getting at is, if you guys hold these negative opinions towards any marginalized group, you are not a part of the left. In my opinion. So you can go do a podcast with Tim Pool or Dave Rubin. I don't care. You're not a part of this group. So stop making this argument that you're the victim, and stop equating your situation to the Tim Pools and the Dave Rubins. You're not like that, or you shouldn't be like that, and you shouldn't be holding those comparisons, because what you're doing is essentially saying you understand their perspective, and you shouldn't. You shouldn't understand their perspective, because if you're going to be that fickle that you switch sides because of this made-up concept of cancel culture, then you weren't ever a lefty to begin with.
Or, you know, flaming turd bag.
But anyways, let me think about that drama in the comments down below. Thank you to Vance Global for sponsoring this video. Use code RICHCLUBS at checkout, and check out their amazing gummies and so much more over there at vanceglobal.com. Love you guys so much, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
So that was essentially like he just let that last a big chunk of it play and didn't give a whole lot of commentary there towards the end. I was kind of expecting him to say more. Sorry, I'm texting Lily right now. She was asking about dinner. And usually on Thursdays we have my niece, which she's down there now. And usually they'll take her home and then we'll get like fast food for dinner. But Lily was like, saying that fried chicken sounds good, which I'm like, okay, you know, that's fine with me. All right, I'm going to put on a little something here just for a few minutes so I can go use the bathroom.
Tonight, the Kremlin trying to downplay a major victory for Ukraine, which is the detention of Putin ally Viktor Medvedchuk, claiming that he's simply an opposition politician who, quote, never had any behind-the-scenes relations with Russia. That's patently absurd. Despite repeatedly, of course, meeting with Putin over the years, including all the public appearances you see on your screen, Putin actually acknowledged to Oliver Stone, the director of Medvedchuk, quote, "We know each other well," because he is the godfather of Medvedchuk's daughter. But hey, barely know each other. All right. Out front now, Bill Browder, longtime Putin critic who has been called Putin's #1 enemy and the author of the new book, Freezing Order, a true story of money laundering, murder, and surviving Vladimir Putin's wrath. So, Bill, so much to talk to you about. So let's first start with Medvedchuk, right? And how big of a fish is he in Ukraine? He's an important guy. He's a really wealthy guy.
He's a wealthy guy who is basically on the Russian side. And I mean, I actually find it funny that they're hanging him out to dry. It shows that there's no great incentive to be a Russian sympathizer in Ukraine right now.
Right, that no one's really coming to his
right,
aid
exactly.
or assistance. Or
he's an enemy of Ukraine, and the Kremlin wants nothing to do with him. So I think that there's a good lesson there for other, Russian agents in Ukraine.
And his daughter's godfather, who's
right.
running the entire war, is seeming to do absolutely nothing
right.
at this point. All right, so that's what happens to him for now. You also talk, and I know you know, but a lot about in your book, Vladimir Kara-Murza, who was arrested this week in Moscow. After he was suspected to be poisoned twice by Putin. You were in constant contact with his wife after those poisonings, poison experts to try to keep him alive. You say he's changed your life and that he's reminds you of a young Nelson Mandela in terms of his charisma and his talent. So last month, he was briefly in the United States. I spoke to him. Here's what he said.
There's a growing certainty among many people in Russia, not only on our side, on the opposition side, but also on the pro-regime side, that this is going to be the last war that Vladimir Putin launches. He really overstepped this time, and there's not going to be a way back for him and his regime. At the end of the day, the only solution to this will be when Putin is out of power, and only Russians in Russia will be able to do that.
So he did that interview.
I think a well-placed bullet from a sniper rifle would probably do it too.
He goes back to
And
Moscow.
anybody can do that.
He's in prison. How worried are you about him?
Well, actually,
I mean, they don't have to be
after that
Russian.
interview,
Let me
he
put it
stopped
that
in
way.
London,
Saw you.
where I live.
Yeah.
I had dinner with him. He told me he was going to Moscow, and I was there during all of his. I wasn't in Moscow, but I was at.
Was that the dude that was detained?
It comes in the context of what is happening to the wealthiest in Russia. And I understand that's a small sliver of the story. I would argue more important that Germany and the EU are giving $1 billion a day to Putin. But the oligarchs are important. And today, the self-governing Isle of Jersey, which you're familiar with, obviously being from
New
London,
Jersey?
froze more than $7 billion of money suspected to be connected to Roman Abramovich.
I'm hilarious. New Jersey.
Now, Zelensky has reportedly asked the U.S. don't sanction him because he's involved in the negotiations. He's ostensibly so close to Putin, it's unclear. Where do you think his loyalties lie?
I think his loyalties lie to Roman Abramovich, so to himself. His loyalties lie to not getting on any sanctions list. And I think from my perspective, this is all just a ruse to try to stay off the sanctions list. And he has for the Americans, but he hasn't for Britain or the EU. And by the way, you know, we
Did I pay for this? I don't think I did. I pre-ordered it, but I feel like I just put a few bucks down on it, like $5. I don't think I paid for that. So I wanted to try it because I like the Souls games. Or FromSoft. I also found my Razer controller too. Oh boy. Is my rig gonna be able to handle Elden Ring and streaming? We gonna find out. Did I pay for this game? Maybe I did. Ooh, come on, baby. Are we locked up? We might be locked up. Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? Well, we're gonna check it out. See if this works. I don't know if it will, but it might. It's a game, man. It's a Big Daddy. It's a Big Daddy game. Is it gonna work with the stream? Who knows? Uh-oh. What's the notification? I got a notification. Skipped frames detected. Yeah, I know. Hobby. I mean, I can totally understand why she would have trouble with this. Can you not use a controller? Wait, confirm. No, not decline. There we go. I don't know if the computer's going to be able to handle this, but I'm trying. I'm trying. I don't have some fucking elite system. I mean, it would have been elite from a couple years ago, but it's been a couple years. Oh god, allows you to connect online to experience a variety of elements and enrich a single play experience. In order to play online, your console must be connected to the internet. It is also depending on your network environment, summoning and matching by invasion. Please check the online software manual. Okay. Sounds good. Oh boy. I don't think it's gonna be able to handle it. My poor system. Whoops. That was a button I didn't want to hit. Come on, girly. You okay? Alright, hold up. I don't think the camera's gonna... See if I can get my Logitech to work. Oh, she is. She's not just riding the struggle bus. She's driving the struggle bus right now. She sapped all my power. How slow are the frames? Is it workable? Okay, the game's responsive. It's mainly just let me shut off my projector up here. Trying to minimize the workload, you know what I'm saying? Alright, hold up. There, it's good. Does it just sap all my RAM? I wonder? Give me a second. When I launched the game, it took down both my cameras. Because I got my main one, but I keep a, Logitech Stream Cam as a backup in case whatever game I'm playing locks up the main camera. And when the first camera locked up, I tried to engage the Logitech and it wouldn't come up either, so... Did y'all take down my cameras? Yeah, even my main camera is fucking choked up. Wonder why that happened. Apologies. I didn't realize Elden Ring would absolutely fuck everything up for me. I didn't even know I'd actually paid for it, to be completely honest. I knew I had pre-ordered it, but I, for some reason, was thinking it was more or less just a... Like, I put $5 down on it, instead of paying the full amount, but maybe I did. I don't know. So, I kind of thought that I wouldn't be able to launch the game and play it, but it was working. I mean, I say working in quotations. But it absolutely clapped the ass cheeks of Streamlabs. Not a happy camper. Come on, man. Alright, I can see both the Logitech and my regular camera are functional. I can see me moving. I'm trying to get the main camera working again. Just a second. Because when this happens, usually I end up having to delete the original source and adding it back to OBS as a new source. So fucking annoying. Alright, so no Elden Ring. It was worth a shot. I had the best of intentions. Come on. Alright, here. Wait, is it working now? It's working now. Okay. Logitech. You working? Logitech? Logitech. Hi, Logitech. Alright, Logitech's working. Working. What is going on? It got trashed up, dude. Hold up, let me go here. Back to here. Oh boy, what happened there, my guys? I mean, I recognize that, what's this under? BRB elements? I recognize that Elden Ring is a large game that saps the resources of the computer. I get that. But I've left the game. But it completely caked up the rest of my system. Are you going to be functional if I add you? Alright. Oh, you don't act as if you're completely buttery smooth. What happened to you? Come on, man. Don't play me. That's not right. Am I gonna have to... Am I gonna have to, end the stream and start it over? Is it really that bad? What happened to you, sweetheart? The game's not even running, but I hear you over here. It sounds like you're running a mile. I can't even remember what size I had this bitch at. I should have checked before I deleted it. But truthfully, it didn't make a whole lot of difference anyway. Let me check something. She's not a happy camper, guys. That makes me nervous. I mean, it's not like I have 300,000 people in here right now and can't just start the shit over, but it's just annoying, you know? Shouldn't have to do that. Alright, this is the Elgato. Hold on a second. Transform. Edit transform. 1402. And 791. 515. 288. Gotta write down all the size and position numbers from a different frame. I can't believe how fucking garboed it is right now. Alright, let me move it down to the right position. And again, it doesn't look like it's ironing out any of the issues, which sucks. It just makes me feel like I'm just going to have to start the stream over, which is annoying, but It is what it is. And it was just from starting the game, man. I didn't even play it. I didn't even get to play it. All right. So that's the main cam. Right? Yep. All right. I'm going to block that one out for a second. Add the Logi. Got to add old Logi to the system. Come on. That's Elgato. You don't want to work Logi? Okay. Sure. Let's do that. She's just not feeling it anymore. She is struggle busing. She's driving the struggle bus. She's drunk driving the struggle bus. And I hate ending the stream and starting it because for the few people who do follow me, they end up getting persistent notifications that I've gone live, and it just... I don't want to annoy people. Why is the Logitech not working? Oh, there it is. Boy, it took forever. There it is. All right, deactivate when not showing. What are you locked up for, you absolute cuck? Holy shit, fire save matches. Can you close this window, please? I don't want you anymore. I'm done with you? You're not? Okay, I'm gonna move you. Because you're annoying. Alright, this video capture device, delete it. You're not gonna let me do that. Alright, I'm gonna have to end the stream. I'll be back. Maybe. Yes, I do want to remove the video capture device. Thank you. Get the fuck out of my face. Like, you're not functional, okay? Let it go. Alright, I'll be back for real. I'm gonna have to force it to die. This is insane, man. All I did was launch Elden Ring. Alright, here we go. I'll be back.